are you?
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Wait a minute. I know you.
You got a name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
I know that, dude.
He's a modern-day Yoda.
I'm your huckleberry.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Greetings and salutations.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
You're excited. Feel these nipples.
That boy is good.
Mm-hmm. Good and terrible.
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
This is the Mike Rutherford Show on the Big X.
The sportos, motorheads, geek bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
The Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133.
All right. Welcome, everybody. It is Friday, July 10th. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, Louisville's newest construction management company. We're coming to you live from a remote, world-famous University of Louisville College of Business Studios. It's Walk On Sports Bistro here in Clarksville. Stop by and see us. We'll be here till 6 o'clock. They've got special happy hour apps and drinks for the next 3 hours. If you want to take advantage, kick your weekend off on the right foot, this is the place to be. Would it have been a little bit cooler to be here if the Americans were playing in the World Cup in about 30 minutes? Yes, but we're not going to get hung up on that. We're going to focus on the positive, and the positive is we're here at Walk-Ons. That's all that matters. We're going to hear from you today on the Gameday Men's Health text line. The number there, 502-414-1450. We are on the air today from 2:34 until 5:30 here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM. We're streaming all over the land, including on the Big X Sports Radio Louisville YouTube channel, even though you can't see our ugly mugs today. We are live on WBNA Channel 21. Ditto for that. You know, it's better as the Big X. It's Mike Rutherford here on location at Walk-On's Bistro. Trevor Kelsey is back at the traditional U of L College of Business Studios. In about 10 minutes or so, we're going to be joined by State of Louisville's Jacob Lane, who is kind enough to be joining us here at Walk-Ons. Before we do that, I'll turn up the return here. I know we've got the echo going. We'll brave it for a second. Trevor Kelsey is back at the U of L College of Business Studios, producing the hell out of the show. TK, how are you, buddy?
It's who cares? Sign.
That was Dugan, by the way, saying who cares.
That was German for I want to be there.
Oh, you're missing us?
I am. Now I got to look up how to say Dugan suck it in German.
He wants to say Dugan suck it in German.
We miss you like a toothache.
I've got to tell you, so yesterday I go to Lakeside after we get off the air, and Virginia's on this like little mini swim team. It's basically just like swim lessons. They're not old enough to compete. And first of all, one guy walks by and is like 79, Mike. I'm like 79, still going strong 2 years later. But then one of the other dads, he walks over about mid-practice, and he's like, I usually listen every day. We went on vacation, I think, in the middle of the summer, and so I missed like a week and a half, and I came back, and Trevor was on the show. He's like, I feel like I missed something. I'm sure you've explained it at some point, but can you walk me through exactly what happened behind the scenes? I was like, yeah, you missed a pretty pivotal moment, but he was saying he was very happy that you're back, TK, so you've got at least one person in your corner.
He's the Lone Ranger.
Guess that makes me Tonto.
What does that mean?
Lone Ranger, Tonto. Never mind.
Are you happy, though, that you have the support of the Lakeside community?
I do. Maybe I can become a member of their country club one day like you.
It's not a country
club. Never.
It's not a country club. It's not. It's absolutely not. My friends do the same thing that you do, where they act like it's some sort of hoity-toity. I'm like, it's not. It's just people that live in the area. But
they would not let Trevor in.
Well, I think they would. He'd be fine. He swims now.
You have to think about it.
No, I think you'd be fine.
No cannonballs for Trevor.
They do have a biggest splash contest on 4th of July, so I think he'd be a crowd favorite for that if we can make it happen.
He'd have to go last because there'd be no water in the pool after he was done.
That's not true. Not true at all. We love you, TK.
Look at Dugan come with a Shallow Hal reference.
I mean, Dugan bringing the fire right off the bat on Mike. I kind of like it. It's impressive here on a Friday. We have things to get to today. We've got new Louisville baseball coaches that are familiar faces. This is not an unexpected move, but now it's official. We've also got our last least cool person tournament matchup of the quarterfinal round. We'll get to that. I got some football scoop to talk about today. I know Dugan's eyes are going to perk up a little bit here. We can maybe we'll save that for when Jacob Lane gets here and we can react to that. But
Radio tease.
A little bit of scoopage. That's how they do it in the biz. A little bit of scoopage as we're not 50 days away from U of L kicking off the season, but we are 50 days away from the first college football game of the season. Yes. It's basically right around the corner. There it is.
In my ear.
It's basically here. That's what we do this a million times during the off season where it's like football's basically here. This is one of those days when you're 50 days away from week 0. You're essentially right there. You're right there.
It'll be here before we know it.
It will be here before we know it. We've got and I think that once you get inside a month, that's when the previewing of Ole Miss and the excitement level for playing a top 10 team in the first week of the season will really start to build. And we'll start talking more about Trinidad Chambliss and the coaching change and what Lane Kiffin left behind and all that good stuff as we get closer. I mean, Dugan, as a football guy yourself, do you like sort of I know you have the offseason discussion about we all wish that the Kentucky game were week 1, or do you wish the Kentucky game were week 1? But this is different with regards to the Jeff era, where you've got a top 10, top 15 team in week 1. The last 2 years, we've played kind of, teams you knew you were going to walk over, and it was just, let's get our feet wet, let's get things, organized and make sure that we look okay. Year 1, it was Georgia Tech, which was a conference opponent, but we were still pretty heavy favorites there. This will be the first time where you've had a chance to make a gigantic splash, to have the quintessential Brom shocker or Brom win or big game Brom right off the bat. Do you like that, or did you kind of prefer when it was more or less you knew you were going to get off to a good start?
I love it I love this opener. I really do. I think we'll find out exactly where we are in the first 3 weeks, really. I mean, it's I love it. Nashville's going to be electric. Labor Day weekend, prime time on Sunday night. I mean, I think it's about as good as you can get.
It will be interesting. We've talked about the last couple of years. We've sort of not known about our team going into the month of October because of the way that the schedule has played out. There were, we won a couple of games in September last season that were closer than anticipated, and so you had some big question marks. The year before, we looked very good going into to October. I think the only loss there was the very close Notre Dame game. This is going to be a different beast. It's not just Ole Miss in week 1. You're playing, arguably, you never know how it's going to shake out, the toughest opponent you're going to face in league play when SMU comes to town in week 3. So it's high risk, it's high reward. You could very easily be 2-2, or God forbid worse, when you go into October this year. You could have one of those 2 wins, and if that's the case, you're probably a top 25 team going into October. Or, best case scenario, you're 4-0, and all of a sudden everybody is talking about you. It's not how does Louisville weasel its way into the college football playoff. It's can they hold serve and keep their place in the college football playoff, because you're talking about Louisville being likely a top 15 team at that point. But we got some time to get there.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
It's July 10th. What else are we going to do?
Yeah, exactly. But SMU's, I mean, they haven't exactly had the best of luck with them. So, and then Ole Miss coming off the playoff run. I mean, weeks one and 3 will be huge as far as telling us where we are.
And I love that we're just kind of glossing over poor Wake Forest now. We're like, it's Wake Forest. They have maybe the worst budget in all of Power Conference football. They're not spending. You also have the 5 days of rest before you play Villanova on September 11th. But it is different this year. If you want answers early in the season, you're going to get answers early in the season. And I think there was news yesterday that we didn't get to. It doesn't really affect us because we'll all either be going to the game or watching the game, I assume. But that SMU game on Saturday, September 19th, which has already been slated as a 3:30 kickoff, ESPN National has picked up that game as their middle of the day national game. I think it's going to lead into it's Florida versus somebody. Maybe it might actually be Ole Miss, which is the big national game of that week that they're going to play at 7:00. So you do have people looking at the landscape of college football in week 3 and saying Louisville, SMU, despite the fact that they're not as big of brands as some of the other teams that are going to be playing, is one of the bigger games of that day, and it will go a long way towards determining which teams are legitimate competitors for the ACC championship. Gameday Men's Health text line, I mentioned it already, but it's already filling up there, 502-414-1450. We will also check in with the YouTube feed today. Even though you can't see us, it's still going live if you want to listen to the show. And if you want to comment there on the right side, you can make that happen as well. Couple pieces of quick news across the board to get to. One was expected. I think it was mostly known, but now it's official. With Louisville baseball being as ridiculously bad as they were in the pitching department this past season and having it essentially cost them any shot at making the NCAA tournament despite having a dude who hit 562 home runs or whatever it was that Tate Davis wound up with this season, you knew that there were going to have to be changes. And you knew it was going to be a delicate situation because, like we've laid out a number of times over the past couple of months, Dan McDonnell is a extremely loyal person. Roger Williams has been his right-hand man for basically the last 20 years. Roger Williams was a guy who, during the first 10 to 15 years of his tenure here, was widely regarded as the best or one of the best pitching coaches in America, and had ample opportunity to jump ship for bigger and better programs and other head coaching jobs while he was here, and instead chose to stick it out at Louisville. So with that being the case, you knew that it was going to be tough for Dan McDonnell to simply do a kind of cut bait and run type deal when the pitching has gone extremely sour, which is what exactly has happened over the last 5 years. So the way that they worked it out is they basically transitioned Roger Williams into a new role where he's overseeing the overall pitching, but he's not doing as much day-to-day stuff, as much individual work with the pitchers, which will hopefully create some better numbers for next season. In Rogers' place on the day-to-day side with the pitching, they're bringing back 2 former players and guys that both had experience pitching in the major leagues, in Cade McClure and Nick Birdie, who are both coming back to Louisville after lengthy professional careers and will now be the pitching coach is. I think McClure is the guy who's going to be the new pitching coach. He will, according to the official press release, quote, handle the day-to-day responsibilities with the pitching staff. He'll have a focus on game preparation. He'll be the man calling the pitches and also leading the recruiting efforts on the pitching side. Birdie, of course, who was throwing in the low 100s back at U of L before it was cool and everybody was throwing in the low 100s, will serve as the director of pitching, which will oversee pitching development with a focus on performance systems, analytics, and data-driven decision-making. He'll also help handle opponent scouting and serve as the bullpen coach on game day. So these will be the guys that will, if pitching fails again next season, you won't have the easy target of Roger Williams. It'll be these guys who hopefully are going to be able to make a difference. Dan McDonnell is, as you would expect, very excited. Here's his official quote in the press release. "We are super excited to have these guys back at Louisville. It's no surprise these 2 have done amazing things in baseball already, having been All-American pitchers while at Louisville, along with extensive pro careers. Our pitching staff is going to love their work ethic, competitiveness, and ability to connect with others." McClure, who, again, will be the official pitching coach for U of L, said, "Returning to the University of Louisville is truly a full-circle moment for me and my family. I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity provided by Coach Mack to give back to a place that has provided so much for us. This program helped shape who I am, and it's an honor to now help shape the next generation of student athletes. I'm excited to get to work alongside our staff and players as we continue to build this program into a national championship contender. Our goal is clear: to compete at the highest level and do everything we can to bring Louisville its first national championship." I like that. I think that any coach in any sport, regardless of what the expectations are for that specific sport, should mention trying to win championships when they come here. It doesn't matter how ridiculous that may sound. It doesn't matter how lofty that goal may be. Should be the goal. And even if it's not, tell the people what they want to hear. We want to feel pretty. Everybody wants to feel pretty. Say things that make us feel pretty. And if you're lying to us, we'll find out in due time, and we will have already forgotten the compliment when that time rolls around. As for Birdie, he said, returning to my alma mater is a tremendous honor. Louisville played a major role in shaping me as both a player and a person, and I'm grateful for the tradition and success that have made this program one of the best in college baseball. As an addition to this pitching department, I look forward to helping develop our pitchers, sharing the lessons I've learned throughout my professional career, and investing in our student athletes both on and off the field. My goal is to help continue the standard of excellence that has defined Louisville baseball and contribute in any way I can as we work toward getting back to Omaha and winning a national championship. 2 for 2, both those guys. Bringing up national titles, getting back to Omaha. Love it. Cade McClure, in case you're wondering what he did after his professional career, he's been in coaching now for a couple of years. This isn't his first stint. It's not like we're handing him this job just fresh off of retiring from baseball. He served as the director of pitching development at Kent State in 2025, which Kent State has consistently been a very good program. We've had them in our regional multiple times over the last 15 years. He helped the Golden Flashes to a 38-18 record last season and helped them improve basically across the board in their pitching, including the primary categories of ERA, WHIP, hits allowed, and walks allowed. Excuse me. His former head coach at Kent State said Cade's a rising star in the coaching ranks, displayed tremendous energy, tireless work ethic. He was detail-oriented, strong connector with our players. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and he's passionate about helping student-athletes develop to their further potential. University of Louisville baseball got a good one. This past season, McClure was at Mercer, which also had a big-time season. They went 44-15. They won the SoCon regular season title. He coached Garrett Lambert, who was an All-American this past season, and he also coached Braden Kersey, who was a finalist for the John Olerud Award, which goes to the best two-way player in college baseball. So, again, you've got experience there. It's not like he just toiled in sort of obscurity in the professional ranks and then immediately just got gifted this job at Louisville. He's earned his stripes, had 2 great years as an assistant coach, and now is getting a chance to take things to another level at U of L. McClure was very, very good at Louisville, All-American in 2016, went 12-0 that year, got drafted in the 6th round, played professionally for 8 years, got as high as AAA. I don't think ever had more than a cup of coffee I don't think he actually had a cup of coffee in the big leagues, but he was very, very close. Birdie did play in the major leagues for a handful of years. Had some arm troubles after he left Louisville, but did log more than 200 professional innings and had over 300 strikeouts. He was the 46th overall pick by the Twins in 2014. I think this is the right move for U of L as far as bringing in new blood in the pitching department. I think whether or not these are the 2 right guys, we'll find out in due time. But you had to make something happen. You had to make some sort of move. It had been too consistently bad in the pitching department for it to be business as usual. The offense hasn't been the issue in either one of the 3 years that, I guess the last 5 years since COVID, essentially. We made the College World Series 2 years ago in spite of bad pitching, and it also just kind of happened to get decent enough at the right time. It was time. We'll make a move, and hopefully we'll go from here, but I think everybody wants to see Louisville baseball get back to the standard that we expect, especially when the offense hasn't fallen off at all. Speaking of baseball, we've got the Major League Baseball draft happening this weekend. I like it better now being separate. It was always so strange when it was happening in the middle of the college baseball NCAA tournament. There were a couple of years where we're playing a game in the regional tournament and guys are getting drafted as that game is happening, which is super weird. I think there was one game in particular where Kyle Funkhauser was pitching and had found out that he'd been drafted lower than he was expecting to be, and you're like, how are you supposed to stay focused on, beating Kent State or whoever we were playing in that game? So I do like the notion that we now get the college baseball season over before we have the MLB draft. There's not a ton else going on in the world. Maybe you can get some extra attention. But as far as guys that are expecting to hear their names called, we're not going to have anybody who I think is going to be a top 10, top 15 draftee. but I would expect Zion Rose is probably going to be the first Louisville player who hears their name called on Saturday, which is the day that you have the first rounds. He is sort of projected kind of all over the place, but I think I saw from Baseball America they've got him going 25th overall. So this is a guy that I think has first-round aspirations. Lucas Moore is choosing to not use his final year of eligibility. He actually was just a junior this past season, one of the fastest players in all of college baseball. I think maybe if there was some hope of him coming back for his senior season, it would have surrounded the idea or the fact that he did not have the best junior season, at least compared to his preseason All-American accolades. Only at 286 this past season. His offensive numbers kind of dipped across the board, but he has been adamant throughout this entire year that he's focused on the MLB draft. Never really gave it a second thought, it seemed like, to come back to Louisville. Doesn't care when he gets drafted. He wants to be a pro. And I think that speed and the defense will still result in him being a decently high draft pick, but could have been a little bit better if he'd had better offensive numbers this season. There are also, I think, the biggest thing to monitor if you are a Louisville fan who's just focused on the success of Louisville baseball. You got a couple of guys out there who have eligibility and the opportunity to come back, but maybe if they're drafted higher than the mocks out there have them, could have a difficult decision to make. Chief among those is Alex Alicea, the 5'8" shortstop who's been pretty good for us when healthy at the top of the lineup. He did not play a ton this past season because of back and wrist injuries. It affected his fielding percentage. It affected his stolen bases. He didn't get on base as much. He'll probably hear his name called, but if I were guessing, it's probably not going to be high enough that's going to sway him to not come back for his senior season. The other player to keep an eye on, I think, in that regard is Jimmy Nugent, the catcher, who was pretty good this past season. You know, Louisville had lost a couple of catchers from the year before. He was very good defensively. He hit .315. He showcased a decent amount of power, 11 home runs, 40 runs driven in. If he were to get drafted a round or two higher than he's anticipating, he might be a guy that has some decisions to make. But at the end of the day, it would be a surprise if either Alex Alicea or Jimmy Nugent chose to go pro. But decent chance that both hear their names called. The other player who I think could be drafted this weekend does not have eligibility left, so it doesn't matter. You hope the best for him. Byram Hott, who played third base for Louisville. Good offensive numbers. Showcased that he was willing, a player at this level, despite starting his career off at Marist. Hit .330, drove in 41, had to showcase some speed with 17 stolen bases. Hoping that he hears his name called high enough that he will be able to get a nice little signing bonus. But he does not have eligibility, so go ahead and root for Byram Hott. But that's something to keep an eye on this weekend. I believe the draft kicks off tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We'll then have the later rounds will be Sunday throughout the afternoon. So best of luck to all the former Cardinals who will be up for drafting this weekend, and current Cardinals who'll be up for drafting this weekend. We'll get to some other stuff after the break. We're going to have Jacob Lane coming in here and talking some Cardinal football. I've got some topics for him. We're going to do a little scoop action. We'll give our first kind of summer update about what's happening behind the scenes as Louisville gets ready for fall camp, which kicks off in about 3 weeks. It's closer than you think. We'll also keep you updated. The World Cup is back in action this afternoon. We were hoping it was going to be the Americans taking on the Spaniards, but it will be Spain versus Belgium starting at 3 o'clock. We'll make some predictions for the weekend ahead as well with the other two quarterfinal games going on Saturday and Sunday. I'm already missing and I know Trevor feels the exact same way. I'm already missing the days of 3 and 4 World Cup games happening back to back to back to back. It's like a drug that you're just taking away from me in the middle of summer and then trying to force me to pay attention to a Reds team that can't score a freaking run. Which I refuse to do. It's why we don't talk about baseball on this show. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we will talk a little Louisville football. Keep the text coming on the Gameday Mens Health text line at 502-414-1450. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, live from Walk On Sports Bistro in Clarksville, Indiana. We're back after this here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio.
John Spears for M&M Cartage. You see those trucks riding down the road with the M&M Cartage sign? You could be a driver or work as a mechanic on one of those trucks. For 45 years, M&M Cartage has been a locally family-owned transportation company, and they're currently hiring those drivers and mechanics. To join their team, go online to mmcartage.com to apply. Headquartered in Louisville with locations in Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Morristown, Tennessee, and Detroit. That's mmcartage.com to apply.
Guns, gears, and great deals. Say it with me. Everything concealed carry. With over 1,000 firearms in stock, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Shop SIG, Smith & Wesson, HK, Glock, and more. Plus the best selection of used guns in Louisville. Looking for premium? Check out Kimber, Dan Wesson at Wilson Combat. We pay cash for guns, and we always have specials. Visit Everything Concealed Carry, 10306 Taylorsville Road in the heart of J-Town. Everything Concealed Carry, your best shot at a great deal.
Options. When it comes to insurance, that's exactly what you deserve. I'm Chad Hennessy with InsureMax, and I've been proudly serving the Louisville area for over 25 years. As an independent agent, we work with Auto Owners Insurance to find coverage that fits you, not the other way around. InsureMax delivers strength, service, and peace of mind through partners like Auto Owners Insurance. More choices, more options. Call me, Chad Hennessy, at 502-479-4085.
Hey Louisville, join us this Friday, July 10th at Walk On Sports Bistro for the Mike Rutherford Show. Live remote, great food, cold drinks, and all the Louisville sports talk you love. Be there this Friday at Walk On Sports Bistro. Don't miss it.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a diehard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know this man can fight and win. In an accident or hurt on the job, call Collier Law Firm. That's C-O-L-Y-E-R Law Firm. Call today.
Hello, I'm Todd Metter, President and founder of TKM Financial Services. I've been blessed to serve clients in the financial services industry since 1993, and I've learned it's never too little, never too late to take control of your finances and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Listen to my live call-in show on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. on WGTK 970. A Nickel and a Plan Finance show is real talk about all things money, done with a musical twist. Tune in and even join in as we talk markets, investment strategies, financial planning, risk management, how the financial services industry really works, and more. Listen to replays of A Nickel and a Plan Finance show on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on Big X Sports 96.1 FM and 1450 AM. For more information about the services TKM offers, online at tkmfsllc.com or 450-PLAN, that's 450-7526. TKM Financial Services, comprehensive in approach, client first, and nature.
Louisville's longest-running pro sports team is back. Louisville Bats Baseball at Louisville Slugger Field. Family-friendly entertainment at budget-friendly prices. See future Cincinnati Reds in action. To plan your day at the ballpark, visit batsbaseball.com.
Check the back seat. All right, come here. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Now, the downpours will be more spotty in nature this afternoon, mixing with some sunshine, but the flood watch continues because the atmosphere is still primed, ready to go for some heavy rain to develop. Best chance to see that would be later tonight into your Saturday. So this afternoon's high in the mid-80s. As we into late tonight and Saturday, rounds of showers and storms with flash flooding at the top of the list. The Wave Storm Track team, I'm Brian Good.
This is Dugan Ryan. I would love the opportunity to talk with you about how we can help grow your business and have your business's brand associated with Big X Sports Radio. Give me a call today at 812-725-1457.
This is Kentuckiana's only locally owned sports talk. The Big X, AM 1450 and 96.1 FM, WXVW Jeffersonville.
Sunshine. And don't it feel good?
3 o'clock hour here, the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. We are live here at Walk On Sports Bistro in Clarksville. Come on out here. They got TVs everywhere. They got you covered for the World Cup game this afternoon and any other sport that happens to be going on national or I think even like regional television. Also, happy hour priced drinks, happy hour priced appetizers for the next 3 hours. Come by, take advantage. Walk On Sports Bistro in Clarksville. We're very happy to be here. Jacob Lane's supposed to be joining us today. Jacob has done this thing. We've been trying to get him on. We were trying to do this thing where he was on every Friday during the summer, and there just keeps being things that happen that have prevented him from getting here. So he was going to come in today, and he was like, it's my wife's birthday, but like she'll be cool with this. We'll figure something out. And then he texted me like a half hour ago, and he's like, my car won't start. I'm trying to get a hold of my wife, and then during the break, he's like, I swear, this is just the worst luck. We're still waiting. We're still trying to get this to work. So Jacob will be here at some point, but I'm going to have to deal with the reverb here for a second and talk with our guy, Trevor Kelsey. TK, are you okay to talk during the segment, or are you going to be, like, smoking a cigarette? What's up?
No, I'm good. My DoorDash is on the way, but I'm good until then.
What'd you dash?
Taco Bell.
It's so bad that you're not willing to say on air?
Well, because I'm trying to cut back on it, but I've been here since 10:30, and I forgot I didn't have time to get food on the way here, so I had to get desperate and get something because I was starting to get kind of hungry over here.
Uh-huh. I mean, I want you to say what it is. I'm waiting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got 4 soft tacos.
Oh, you would Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's Friday, for God's sake. It's summer.
It's not walk-ons, that's for damn sure.
It's not walk-ons. You're right. Could I interest you in a little scoop from the early summer football sessions?
I love me a scoop. 2 scoops
right.
If you can.
I think you're going to like this. I think that, it's not 100% positive, but we give we give the full scoops on this show. We're not just telling you what you want to hear. We're giving you a little bit of what you hopefully want to hear, and then the actual details of what's happening behind the scenes. So here we go. This is the first thing. This team competes during workouts and sessions and all the summer stuff harder than any of our previous teams since Jeff's been here. Do you like that?
I do. I always kind of wonder when you hear something like that, though, is that a compliment to the current roster or a dig on the past roster?
I think it can be both, right?
I agree.
But, I mean, better than they're not quite competing as hard as the 2024 team.
They're better than the 18 team, hopefully.
Well, I'm just saying. Jeff wasn't here in 2018, so they're saying that this group is competing harder as of right now than any of the 3 past Jeff Brom teams. I like hearing that. I think that's good. Second thing, linebackers are stars. This is maybe it's the product of this being a unit that everybody's familiar with and having the names that know what to expect and being ahead of the curve as far as they're not relearning the playbook because all these guys have been here for multiple years. But the linebackers are looking like superstars out there. You got Stan Kwan, you've got T.J. Capers, you've got I guess Antonio Watts technically counts as a linebacker. This unit might be the best on the entire team outside of the running back spot. How do you feel about that, Trev?
I feel like it makes me feel like I'm walking on sunshine.
You got to have good linebackers.
Yes.
An area of concern going into the offseason, I think, for a lot of people was the secondary, just because you lost so many key cogs from last year's team. You brought back Tyon Holloway, but they had to get very active in the portal. They got Cohen Entringer from Iowa. They've gotten a couple of other guys as well. The early thoughts on the secondary from folks that have seen them is that they're a lot better than we thought they were going to be. The unit is going to be very, very good, according to folks that know the secondary and how to play defensive back very well. Trevor, how do you feel about that?
That makes me feel warm and cozy like when I used to climb the rope in gym class.
I don't think that was the line.
Was it not the line? You've got the memory. You've got the eidetic memory for lyrics and lines. What was it?
I don't think it was warm and fuzzy though. I thought it was. It makes me. There's something about like tingling, like when I used to climb the rope in gym class.
I get the tingling feeling too, though.
Now I've got to look it up. Now I'm doing a Trevor where I can't move on until I get the actual quote. When I used to climb the rope in gym class, it's okay, never mind. She makes me feel kind of funny, like when we used to climb the rope in gym class. So we're both wrong.
I like our versions better.
I do too. We should have written Wayne's World. It would have been a lot better. I think I'm not going to say that there's concern with Lincoln Keenholz, but I think that they feel very confident with Lincoln. I think that there's an adjustment to maybe him not being able to make some of the deep throws that like Tyler Shuck could have a couple of years ago, and throws that they were hoping Miller Moss was going to be able to make last year, and he couldn't at all. The one thing, I think they have a lot of confidence in Lincoln. They think he's going to be great. The thing that they have this year that they have not had the past 3 seasons is a high degree of confidence in both the backup quarterbacks. Winder came out and played very well in the spring game, and I think that led to a lot of people saying, oh, is there actually going to be a quarterback competition? There's not, but if something were to happen to Lincoln Keenholz, it won't be like it has been in years past where they were trotting out like a half-dead Miller Moss or a half-dead Tyler Shuck or whoever, because they just had zero confidence in the backups whatsoever. They think Winder can do it. Briggs Cherry, as a true freshman, they feel like he has a much stronger grasp of the playbook and what's expected of quarterbacks in the system than other freshmen that have come through the system. Like I said it many times the last couple of years, they really liked the tools that Deuce Adams had. It was simply he wasn't grasping the playbook. He wasn't able to go through his reads the way that they wanted him to be able to in order to have full confidence in his ability to go out there and sling it. They feel like Briggs Cherry is light years ahead of him and the other freshman quarterbacks like Pierce Clarkson that they've had the last few years. So if something were to happen to Lincoln Keenholz, they feel like they're going to be okay. Do you think, Trev, that makes it more likely that they're willing to run him? I mean, this is a guy that we talk about his athleticism a lot. We didn't do design runs for Tyler Shuck, even though he was an athlete, just because we had to keep him fully healthy and he had been injury prone. Do you think that we run Lincoln Keenholz more simply because we feel like we can keep rolling as an offense, even if he's a little banged up?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I did get worried when you mentioned the lack of arm strength a little bit, because with our running game, you want somebody to be able to air it out in this offense and keep the defense honest. But if he's athletic enough, and with Briggs Cherry, what you just said and what I've heard on the Cardinal Insider after your show at 6 o'clock every day, it seems that, they'd like to get him maybe even some touches here and there throughout the season and see what he looks like.
Would you like that? We've had running quarterbacks in the past, obviously, with Lamar and Malik Cunningham and some other guys. I think that it's a way to rest a guy like Isaac Brown, to not make him have to carry the ball 22, 25 times a game. It also keeps the opposing defenses honest. If we're going to run a little read option this year, which I think we probably will, you got to keep the opposing defense from just keying entirely on Isaac or Keywan or Marquise Davis or whoever's back there. If Lincoln Keenholz, if they know that he's going to tuck and run 7 or 8 times a game, I think that little hint of doubt maybe creates the running lanes for Isaac Brown that wouldn't have been there if you had 9 guys dedicated solely to slowing him down. I feel like we kind of almost have to run Keenholz because of that.
I'd be okay with it. Again, didn't we run those things with Jack Plummer? I mean, if we can do it with him, we can do it with Keenholz, right?
They ran it with Jack Plummer just because they were like, all right, nobody at all is respect. He can crawl for 5 yards with these gigantic holes. And so every now and then we let Jack tuck and run a little bit. And we did it with Miller a couple times last year and caught some teams by surprise. The thing this year is you maybe don't catch teams by surprise, but you got to keep the opposing defense honest. So I'm all for it, especially if they feel like they've got confidence in their backup quarterbacks. Now, the only issues that are kind of rearing their heads, and these aren't huge things right now, but they are things that maybe could bite you as the season goes on. There's a noticeable lack of depth in 3 spots, I think. And this isn't unpredictable. We've been talking about a couple of these position groups a lot. Wide receivers, you feel good about the starters that you've got there. They're expecting Trey to be a beast. They're expecting a couple of the other guys to be fantastic. But if a couple of those guys get hurt, Trey Richardson's coming off of an injury. If he were to get banged up again, I don't know if they've got the guys second in line that are willing to step up and have things not taper off a little bit. They feel the same way, I think, about the offensive line. Like, they really like the starting group there and a couple of backups. But outside of that, there would be some serious concerns if they had to get too deep into the offensive line depth. That's kind of been a thing since Jeff got here, where the first group is pretty good, but if you get a couple guys hurt, you're sort of screwed a little bit. Thankfully, I think we were pretty limited in injuries last season, and the offensive line held up pretty well for the most part. But that's always a big but. If you get guys banged up in the trenches, what happens? All of a sudden, your offensive line is looking extremely different. And then the other spot is the inside of the defensive line. You feel great about where you are on the edges. I think they like the guys that they believe are going to start on the inside, but you want to have multiple players that you can run in and out in the trenches, especially when you're playing the most physical teams on your schedule. And I think there's a little bit of concern about the depth on the defensive line. So, we're good as long as everybody stays healthy, but with regards to those three groups, if we do have some injury concerns, we may have some concerns as an entire team overall. What's your reaction there, Trev?
Honestly, that it can be a concern, but with the transfer portal and where college football has kind of become, we don't see, even the powers that be are lacking depth now with the thanks to the transfer portal. So it's not just us. I mean, anybody gets injuries, they're going to have issues. And hopefully, hey, next man up, maybe it's somebody we don't know about. Maybe it's somebody even cooler than we thought can step up and be good. That would be my positive take on it.
It's somebody cool we don't even know about. Just somebody who's really good that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. The other thing, this was not talked about to me, and I was told that we're good on this front. I'm still a little bit concerned about, we're moving some guys on the offensive line. We're moving one guy in particular, Lance Robinson, who was very good for us at guard last season. He's moving to center. We had Pete Niger the last couple of years, who was also very good. I feel like maybe I'm just jaded because I think that this has happened a couple of times. I remember Jake Smith, I want to say, had this happen 10, 15 years ago. When we've moved guys around on the offensive line, I feel like the learning curve has really shown, in particular when we've moved a guy to center who hadn't played the position before. I think Eric Doherty is going to be great at left guard or right guard, whichever one they choose to play him at. Boston College has produced a number of NFL offensive linemen, even when they've sucked at everything else. They know how to coach the offensive line. He was a big get for us. Anwar O'Neal, I'm hearing very good things about him at left tackle, but does it make you nervous that our starting left tackle, arguably the second most important position in football, is coming from Delaware? That's a big jump in competition, Trev. Are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was answering the DoorDash call.
Oh.
I was just literally telling him I can't come out there for a few minutes because I'm doing work, and I missed what you said. I'm sorry.
Did you not have a leave it at the door note?
Yeah, but as you know, I think it's confusing when the address here, because the building behind,
yeah.
They get confused, I think.
Are you all set now on the DoorDash?
I have to go out and get it, but I'll do that at the commercial break.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask you real quick. The left tackle, I think that the staff feels very, very confident in Anwar O'Neal. I've heard nothing but good things. But we're talking about arguably the second most important position on offense, and it's a guy who's transitioning from Delaware to the ACC level. Now, he's got the size to compete, but do you get concerned about a guy who was previously playing at a program that is on a completely different tier, transitioning and now taking on a position of such importance at Louisville?
Yeah, but you know what? Joe Flacco went to Delaware, and he turned out to be pretty damn good.
This is true. It's a solid comeback. I like that mentality. And then the rest of the offensive line is still, I think, a little bit up for regards. Kason Henry, I think, is going to be good at the other tackle. The interesting thing to kind of look at. So we're moving Lance Robinson over from guard to center. The backup center, I think, at this point in time, is Evan Wibberly, who started for Kentucky last season. Now, the Kentucky, the big, what do they call it? Like the big blue wall. It was not exactly a wall last season. The offensive line was pretty piss poor for Kentucky, but still, like you're talking about a guy that was starting in the SEC and has experience there. Maybe they try to start him at guard. Maybe they do end up moving him to center and move Robinson back to guard if things don't go well for him at that position. But it has to be like encouraging that we're talking about a guy who started at Kentucky on the offensive line last season being a presumed backup as we get ready for fall camp. Like, I feel like that makes me more confident about the offensive line. Do you feel the same way?
I concur.
That's all you got?
Yeah, sorry. I just realized the guy left it in front of the building in front of us, so I got to drive over to get my DoorDash.
What do you mean?
You know, the school we have in front of our building?
School. Okay.
He left it in front of the front door of the building that's facing Taylorsville Road.
Okay. Well, you go get your DoorDash, okay? You're off.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to, I thought you were going to have Jacob with me. My bad.
He's going to be here at 3:30.
Oh, I can wait a few minutes as long as some hoodlums don't steal it.
Okay. I mean, do you want 4 soft tacos that bad?
Have you ever had a soft taco from Taco Bell?
So anyway, that's our football update for today. Zero help from Trevor Kelsey.
Oh, I disagree. I helped a little.
But no help whatsoever.
Zero.
Maybe you can help us out a little bit more. We've got our 4th and final least cool person tournament quarterfinal for the 2025-2026 U of L athletic season. I think this one is relatively straightforward and simple, but maybe Trevor will disagree. We've got, if I say the name Brian Mandel, do you know who that is, Trevor?
That's Howie's cousin, right?
Not Howie's cousin. It's not Stewart's cousin. Not to my knowledge, at least. This is the guy in Texas who lost the $80,000 bet on the Louisville-Cal football game and then chose to handle it in the incredibly mature fashion of messaging Jeff and Brian and Miller Moss death threats after the game and then ended up getting himself arrested. This was, again, why are you betting $80,000 on a Louisville-Cal football game?
I hadn't watched Miller Moss play yet.
He had not watched. This was his introduction to Miller Moss, and maybe his introduction to Jaron Kiawa Sagapulatelli for Cal. But he mentioned Miller Moss after the game, messaged him and said, "I'm going to spend the rest of my life making yours miserable. You cost me $80,000 last night. You can either pay me or suffer the consequences. You, your girlfriend, and your parents, they all will suffer." He also messaged Jeff and said, "I'm going to find and kill you and your entire bleeping family, you piece of bleep." This guy pled guilty in February to 1 count of terroristic threatening in the 2nd degree, which is a felony. He resigned from the Corpus Christi Planning Commission after his indictment by a grand jury in November. Not a cool guy. Very uncool move. Will be uncool forever. He's taking on, in the quarterfinals, Indiana football. Indiana football made the not quite as uncool move of buying out, of playing us the last 2 seasons. Could we have ruined the dream season? Yes. Would we have ruined the dream season for Indiana? Definitely. Definitely. It's proven by science and reasoning. We simulated the game. We would have beaten Indiana and ruined their shots of winning a national title, or at least diminished the, they would have at least been 15-1. I feel good about that. And then the other uncool thing that they did is they raised the bar to unthinkable levels for programs like us and other programs that have always kind of dreamed of rubbing elbows with the best of the best in college football. Now, every fan base in America that has never experienced a playoff or a national title in football is like, well, if Indiana can do it, it's not cool to us. It makes you dream a little bit, but all of a sudden it's like, I mean, why them? Like they've been terrible at football my entire life. They haven't cared about football my entire life, and here they are not just being good, but beating everybody that matters on their way to a 16-0 national championship season. I feel like that's uncool, but I'm of the belief that it's not remotely as uncool as what Brian Mandel did.
It's a blowout.
I think this is a blowout. This was maybe a slot filler. Trevor, do you have an opinion to the contrary, or are you with Dugan and myself?
I'm with you guys. The guy, the Mandel dude, yeah, did he get locked up? Did he serve time, or was he found guilty? What was his sentence? Do we know?
he pled guilty. I think he had to pay restitution to U of L in the form of like $2,000 because of that's what U of L had to spend to provide extra security at the homes of Jeff and Brian and everybody else that got threatened. So he had to do that. But he hired Steve Romines to be his defense attorney here in Louisville, who is the kind of the guy when it comes to defense attorneys.
If you got $80,000 to throw around on Miller Moss, you can afford Steve Romines.
That's the
guess.
thing. Like, if you're betting Louisville Cal $80,000 on random Saturday nights, you probably can afford enough money to get yourself out of jail, and that's what happened. You hire Scotty Scheffler's lawyer, and Scotty Scheffler's lawyer goes out there and makes plays. So he did avoid jail time. I think that he lost his jobs. He's the son of a very important wealthy person in Corpus Christi. He served on some committees. He did a bunch of them. So these are the types of people that tend to skate when they get caught up in stuff like this. And so he did skate, which is also uncool, at least according to me.
Yeah, if Romines can only get you only paying a fine, then any other lawyer, that dude would be sitting in jail right now for 6 years.
I kind of feel like that's probably the case, because this went beyond just, hey, bleep you in a DM. He's actively saying, and the thing that I think got him in the most trouble and would have probably gotten jail time for somebody who didn't have $80,000 to bet on these types of games, is it wasn't just that night. The next day, when he has theoretically sobered up
After
and had time to think about it,
he's still sending messages.
He's going back to messaging these people and saying, yeah, you've ruined my lives. He's trying to blackmail everybody that he talks to into sending him money. He tried to get Miller Moss to send him money. He tried to get Jeff Brom to send him money. So, you can't just say, I got really drunk one night. I did a terrible thing. I've never done this before. I'll never do it again. He had the opportunity to sleep it off, sober up, think about what he did, and he went right back to doing the same exact things the next day. So wildly uncool, Brian Mandel. And as you might expect, he currently has a 92 to 8% lead in the voting on CardChronicle.com. So we're looking.
Did he get bet on Louisville again?
Can you imagine? There should be a special reserved prison for somebody who goes through this, avoids jail time, and then next year he bets us $50,000 to cover against Villanova, and then we don't do it, and he's right back to messaging Jeff again. They should just throw that guy away, send him back to to Attica or wherever, and throw away the key. That would be ridiculous.
Maybe we can have Jeff send him a video like Bryce Harper style.
Thank you for your commitment to our program. We apologize for letting you down. Here's tickets to next year's James Madison basketball game. We can make this happen for you.
We should get Romans to give him his number. We'll get in touch with him, figure out who he's betting on, then fade him.
We can get him on the show. Maybe we can make that happen. See what's going on. So we are looking, I believe, at a Final Four of Brian Mandel, the Michael Brown back situation, NCAA tournament expansion, which appears to be on the verge of pulling off the win over Will Stein, and then Louisville football's November swoon. It looks like narrowly beat out Louisville baseball's pitching. Out of those four, I feel like there are two clear favorites in Mandel and the Michael Brown back situation. Do we feel like that's the most likely championship game, Trev?
Yeah, I think Mandel versus the back, and I'm not to be cocky, but I think the back's going to win.
I think you're right. Tournament expansion is wildly uncool, but it's not Louisville specific, which sort of sets it apart. The football swoon was bad, but losses happen. That's kind of a normal thing. The back situation was layered, and I think that is something that the fan base still hasn't gotten over. And then the Brian Mandel stuff is just kind of heinous and gross. So I think that's what we're headed for, but we'll find out. The semifinal matchups will be up early next week. I believe it's going to be Michael Brown back situation versus NCAA tournament expansion, and then Louisville football's November swoon versus Brian Mandel, which actually is kind of ironic because the first game of that swoon was the Mandel game.
Himself to win or against himself to fade?
You think he's going to bet?
Say what?
You think Brian Mandel's going to bet on himself in this?
Or he might bet against himself to win it back and at least get something out of it.
There is something to be said there. I don't know if you can take odds on the Card Chronicle least cool person tournament contest.
I wish I could get some action on this.
You might be able to. I'm sure some degenerate out there is posting odds on some unavailable public database.
If you can bet on a Catholic grade school game, surely you could bet on this.
You can make that happen. No question about it. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll hear from you guys on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. We'll also have our guy Jacob Lane, I believe, in the house. We are at Walk-On's Sports Bistro here in Clarksville, Indiana. We'll be here until 6 o'clock. Stop by and take advantage of their great happy hour deals. Kick your weekend off on the right foot with us here at Walk-On's. We'll be back after this. It's the Rutherford Show, 1450-96.1, The Big X.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or soccer, swimming or tennis, our Bulldogs are giving it their all on the field and court. So let's rally behind them, New Albany. Come out to the games, cheer them on, and let's make some noise. Let's show everyone what it means to be a part of the best city in Southern Indiana. Go Bulldogs.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect spot for a healthy alternative to fast food. They provide a variety of freshly made sandwiches, as well as salads and delicious soups. And you can dine in or take it to go. They also have many dinner options such as ham, turkey, frozen sides, and desserts, which provide a complete meal. Catering is also available for small groups or large gatherings. Call Honey Baked Ham today, 812-941-9426, or visit them, 3602 North Gate Court, Suite 23 in New Albany.
Kratz Sporting Goods is Southern Indiana's team sports specialist and is your local Adidas team product dealer. Kratz specializes in outfitting your team, organization, club, or business in apparel, hard goods, and accessories from Adidas and many others. Kratz offers fundraising opportunities for your team, organization, or club through online web stores. Let our friendly staff get you started today by calling 812-282-5400 or visit and shop at our website at kratzsports.com.
Guns, gears, deal. It's everything concealed carry. With over 1,000 firearms in stock, we've got what you're looking for. Fast. SIG, Smith & Wesson, HK, Glock, plus the best selection of used guns in Louisville. Looking for premium? Kimber, Dan Wesson, Wilson Combat. Selling? We've got selling. We pay cash for guns, and we always have specials. Don't wait. Get in today. Everything Concealed Carry, 10306 Taylorsville Road in the heart of J-Town. Everything Concealed Carry. Serious selection, serious value.
Louisville football fans, the 2026 schedule is here. Head coach Jeff Brom and company are set to host 6 home games in the fall, including ACC matchups against SMU and Florida State. Visit gocards.com/FBinfo to learn more about a season ticket plan that best suits your needs.
Check the backseat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
As a proud sponsor of the Mike Rutherford Show and Louisville Cardinals basketball, United Mechanical is committed to providing the same reliability on and off the court. United Mechanical is Kentuckiana's business-winning choice for reliable HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Season after season, call United Mechanical, your trusted home team partner at 502-339-1133. That's 502-339-1133. Let's go Cards. If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a die-hard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know this man can fight and win. In an accident or hurt on the job, call Collier Law Firm. That's C-O-L-Y-E-R Law Firm. Call today.
Defining a new era in men's health, Gameday Men's Health delivers real results. No shortcuts. From testosterone replacement, weight loss, to peptides, vitamins, and sexual performance therapy, they will have you covered. From their in-house lab that gives you answers in just 15 minutes in our clinic that is designed for men who value speed, privacy, and most importantly, results. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com. Real men, real science, real change. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com.
I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the time that bind. Because you're mine, I won't lie.
Welcome back in. It's the Friday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. We are live at Walk-On's Sports Bistro in Clarksville, Indiana. Stop by and see us. Enjoy the specially priced appetizers and drinks up until 6 o'clock. Start your weekend off on the right foot. Weather's beautiful. It's not quite as hot as it's been the last couple of weeks. I think it's going to be a nice weekend. Also want to remind you, if you are looking for something to do tonight or tomorrow night, Racing Louisville back in action at Lynn Family Stadium this evening. They're taking on Bay FC. It's Ali night. They'll have specially themed Muhammad Ali uniforms, special Muhammad Ali tributes throughout the match. The typical happy hour drink specials at Lynn Family Stadium as well. And then tomorrow night, it's Lou City in action against Lexington SC. The Commonwealth Cup rivalry is going on. Lexington SC has never beaten us. We are 5-0 against them all time. We'll look to move to 6-0 tomorrow night. 8 o'clock is the kickoff for that matchup. If you want discounted tickets to both or one of those matches, you can go to loucity.com/cardchronicle or racinglou.com/cardchronicle. Both links will take you to the same place, and you can get your discounted tickets there only for Card Chronicle readers and Mike Rutherford Show listeners. Jacob Lane's in the house. We're about to get him on the mic in just a second. We also will check in with you guys on the Gameday Men's Health text line. The number there is 502-414-1450. I haven't glanced at the YouTube chat. Even though we're on remote and you can't see our ugly mugs on the YouTube stream, you still can comment there if you'd like to. Let's see. We'll take a couple of quick comments here from the YouTube, just because YouTube never is active when you can't see me. I get you want to see what I'm wearing. I won't tell you. CAG Dog says Athlon came out with their college football playoff 12-team preseason projections, and they've got U of L in their next tier of CFP playoff contenders. I'm fine with that. I feel like there might be one or two college football pundits, and this typically happens in August when everybody has exhausted all of their talking points and people are looking for shock values and they're looking for a note that not everybody has given just yet. There may be one or two people that have us in the playoff. I feel like more common than that is going to be the number of people who have Louisville listed as like a dark horse contender or like a next tier up or something along those lines. So I'm not going to hate on Athlon for having us there. I think it's solid. And then Matthew says, if they think O'Neal has been doing good, it can't be that huge of a jump for him since he's been going up against our edges, which I expect to be a top 10 unit in the nation. Yeah, it's a very fair point. And granted, they haven't had full practices yet. You're still doing the summer workout stuff, and you're doing some quick run-throughs. You're not fully into fall camp. But if Anwar O'Neal is having a good enough time blocking Clev Lubin and blocking Tyler Thompson and blocking, linebackers coming off the edge, I feel like that's a pretty good sign that he's going to be capable of being an able left tackle for this team. We all know how important that position is. If he can hold it down, good news for us. Lack of depth, a concern, but I do feel like that front five and maybe a couple of the backups on the offensive line are going to be solid. Again, Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Gameday Men's Health, redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy, and more. Visit GameDayMensHealth.com today to find out what they can do for you. We do have Jacob Lane in the house from State of Louisville, getting himself settled over here. Are you ready to talk into the mic? There he is.
Late as always.
Fashionably late. I was saying earlier in the show, I feel like we've tried to have you on this summer several times. We're going to do a whole thing. Something comes up. You're making this happen though, even though you've had car trouble and it's your wife's birthday.
That's correct.
I feel like
anything for you, Mike.
This is what I appreciate. I'm applauding the hustle. Thank you so much for coming out here.
Well, of course, it's always great to be here. It's really funny. I was telling my wife this earlier. I've hosted, I'd say probably 20 hours of radio on your network and on your show, and I think I've maybe done 2 hours with you in those 20. I always just being your backup.
I remember doing it before. I think we've done one where it was both of us together, and then I think we had one where you and Matt were both on the show.
Yeah,
I think that
Preston
happened.
might have been down there one time.
Maybe it was Presley. I
Yeah.
remember there was one where it was like both of you guys at the same time. I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to see you. You look great.
I don't know about that.
Glowing, I would say.
I don't
Where's
know
the
about-
championship trophy? Did you
It's
bring
not
it?
here. It's not
No,
here.
It's not in
yeah,
the
and
front
I know
seat.
everybody expects to see it these
I know.
days.
It's like it's got to be a part of you.
I need it. Well, Mary has made me take it off the main table of the house. It's now just sitting on the
man.
desk in my office, which is still very visible, throwing L's up from
Yeah.
the side there.
It can never be relegated though down to where the snow globe is. You can't let that happen.
Well, the snow globe's gone.
Okay.
Snow
it's
glo-
gone.
It didn't make the move.
Oh no. Am I that late? That's like 5 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years. Okay.
It was actually about. We're coming up on 2 years when we moved. The snow globe, the handle broke off the snow globe.
Okay.
Like
important.
4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Which is probably because it's not supposed to be furiously
Sure,
shaken
shaken
after
the way that you were. Yeah.
after every big run in basketball
Correct.
games.
Correct.
So it was already damaged. And then it was one of those where I was like, we don't need to be bringing this. So I put it in a trash bag. I was moving it. When I put it down, it broke and all the glitter started going across the driveway, which I felt like was sort of a burial at sea.
Sure.
Like that was
Sure.
the right way.
And 2 years ago means did it get to see Pat Kelsey for a little bit at least, or was it pre-Pat Kelsey?
This would have been pre-pack.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it was right before the 2024 football season started.
Okay. So you kind of ended the curse of Louisville basketball. when it broke,
That's the
maybe.
way that I like to view it.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't want the snow globe missed all the good years.
Yeah.
It was only there for like the MAC years. And so, like, it was time to kind of
It needed
take
to be,
things and
it needed
put
to
them
be
to
put to
bed.
rest. Okay.
Well, I want to talk a little football with you before we get to the Game Day Men's Health text line, because I was serving up a little bit of a summer scoopage, which is the first time you hear things here or there, but it was the first time I've heard something substantive when someone was like, hey, I'm willing to give you this. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm hearing. Here's what's going on. So the first thing was they believe that they're saying, the royal the competitiveness level at this point in the summer, when it comes to off-season workouts, the on-field stuff they've been able to do, this is the most competitive group that they've had in the 4 years since Jeff got the job here. I feel like that's a very positive way to start this.
Especially with so many new guys. They have 52 new players.
Right.
I mean, that's insane. That's really hard to create a culture unless that's just 52 guys who get it. You know what I mean? Like right off the bat, they understand what it is, what they're here to do. You don't have to spend, as much time trying to work on culture and working hard, how to work. It's great. They've got the guys that are at the top that they need to be stars, and hopefully they're setting the example and having some urgency based off of how close they've been the last, 2 or 3 years.
It's almost half the battle in this day. Is just making sure that people are fully bought in to what you're doing and not just saying, I want to preserve my eligibility for next season. I don't want to give it. I wish I had more NIL. I'm not playing over this. So the fact that everybody's kind of going to war, I feel like is a good thing.
Right.
Second thing.
Okay.
They feel very confident about the backup quarterbacks.
About who?
The backup quarterbacks.
The backup quarterbacks.
You've
Okay. That feels good.
I think with Lincoln, I think everybody kind of knows the reputation there.
Right.
Super athlete, phenomenal leader. He's clearly a cut above the other two quarterbacks that are on scholarship right now. Maybe not the strongest arm in the world, but great touch, great feel for the offense, and they're going to use him in the running game. But they feel like if something were to happen, they won't be in the position they've been in the last 3 years where it's like, we've got to play Miller Moss on one leg.
Right.
We've got to limit Tyler Shuck's carries because if something were to happen to him, we've got no backup plan.
Right.
They feel like if Lincoln were to get banged up, Gavin Winter can come in and he can run the offense effectively. And they feel like Briggs Cherry is not just a guy with the physical. I mean, they felt like Deuce Adams had the physical tools.
Yeah.
They were like, he's not grasping the playbook, or maybe he's not putting in the effort behind the scenes to grasp the playbook, can't go through his progressions. They feel like Briggs at some point is going to be the guy. I was asking Trevor this before you got here. That's obviously it's a great thing for if something, God forbid, were to happen to Keenholz. But I think it opens them up. You never want to make somebody prone to injury, but it does give you the opportunity to say, hey, we're going to run Lincoln Keenholz on these read options a little bit because we've got to keep the opposing defense honest with Isaac back there and Keewan back there. And now you don't have that sense of we can't even let him run 4 or 5 times a game because, God forbid, the leg happens. I feel like this it's a confidence booster for them to be able to run the offense the way they want to.
It is, and I think the last couple of years they've not necessarily had a running threat, despite the fact that Miller Moss had 8 touchdowns last year. He was the biggest vulture in America,
which is still so weird to say.
I
forgot that until you just said it.
Yeah, they were all 1-yard runs,
right?
On 4th down or whatever. But I do think that when Tyler would run, everyone's general consensus was, "Holy crap, man, get down, please no." And with Miller, he shocked you a little bit with some of the athleticism, but the rest of it was just so bad that you're like, oh God, if he's running, it's whatever the case. With Keenholz, I love the idea that it allows you to make your run game more dynamic with the read options and having that threat. But it also, from a perspective of quarterbacks, I love to hear it, and I love that the backups are in place. But just from my eye, the last few years, I've wondered how much of it is the backups aren't ready to play versus, Jeff just has got his guy and he's laser focused on it. I mean, I've joked that it could have been a serious clause in both Miller Moss and Jack Plummer's contracts that he couldn't bench them because it was like, dude, you have everything you need to make a move here. So I like to hear that. But I mean, my thing is with Brom is when things are going south, how quickly will he make a move? Because he's not done that. So far when he's been at Louisville.
He hasn't, and then I think we've kind of gotten a taste of why in both those years. Remember, like that first year with Jack Plummer, it was like people were like, "We need Brock, we need," Brock. And then Brock got out there, and they're like, "Okay, who else besides Brock do we have?"
Yeah, where's Pierce? Right.
And then last year, we don't have Miller Moss for the SMU game,
right?
And we go out there, and even Deuce made a couple of nice throws early, and I think we all were desperate to get some sort of glimpse of like, hey, this could be the guy. We scored 6 points.
We did,
and it didn't look great.
Not to open up an old Pandora's box here, but being at that game and watching it the way that we did, I mean, we were super disappointed as Louisville fans that it felt like Jeff Brom had the training wheels on with Deuce Adams.
You did want to let him sling it a little bit.
It
more.
was like early on, he connected on a couple of big downfield passes. I think the drive coming out of halftime, he made a play that was maybe the best throw of the year that we had seen. But then the rest of it was just these vanilla 2-3 yard passes, runs that weren't going anywhere. And it almost felt like Jeff was like, all right, guys, you wanted the backup? Here it is. You know? So, again, I like it. But until I see a need for that, which I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the backups. I want to hear Link Keenholz is so good that the backups can't even get on the field.
I mean, I think it helped that Winder played so well in the spring game,
he looked
too.
Great.
You had a lot of people that were like, this could be a legitimate quarterback battle, which I don't think is the case.
No. And I thought Briggs looked awesome, too. At one point, I remember watching and having I had my kids out at the spring game, and I remember being kind of disconnected from it and looking down and being like, wow, that was a great throw by, Winder. And they're like, no, that was Briggs Cherry. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, that's crazy. That was a big-time college football throw.
He's got a cannon.
He does.
And
he's great.
If he can master the mental side, which it sounds like he's come a long way, like that is the thing with Jeff, is he doesn't want to throw a quarterback out there who he feels like doesn't know the full playbook and doesn't know the progressions. And I do think that was a big thing with Deuce the last couple of years, because they were hoping, like they wanted him to be the guy at some point.
Yeah.
And now they've got Briggs Cherry in the same position where, even if it's not next year, we'll see what happens. Keenholz has more eligibility.
Right.
We'll see if you can bring him back. But if you had to next year, I think that they feel like they could. But I think ideally you want redshirt sophomore Briggs Cherry, year 3 in the system, taking over the program and setting the world on fire.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation. But in this, in this day and age of college football, that's just not how it works anymore. Guys don't wait 3 years to get their turn. So I'll be curious to see, if there's a situation where Briggs, maybe starts to put the pressure on Keenholz towards the end of the year, and then as they go into the portal situation, maybe something happens. But I love that you have a guy that you can kind of pinpoint and say, this is a Jeff Brom quarterback. And I think Briggs Cherry hopefully is the first quarterback that's not a transfer quarterback that eventually develops into the system and becomes a multi-year starter.
For sure.
That would be great.
The other thing that I've heard on the positive front, and I think this is positive. I know we're all talking about the linebackers.
Yeah.
This person saying the most impressive overall group, either side of the ball. I read this wrong earlier. We were talking about it. The linebackers.
Which one?
Linebackers.
Okay.
Saying, and I think a lot of that is, you mentioned how nice it would be to have somebody within the program for a couple of years to hand the baton off. I think you would almost expect the linebackers to be ahead of everybody else at this point in the calendar, just because most of them have been in the system for a handful of years.
Yeah.
They know what to expect. They don't need to be retaught things. They know how the workouts go. But, you've got a lot of guys with a lot of reps at Louisville, and Stan Kwan. If you want to get Antonio Watts is basically a linebacker, even though he plays all over the field.
Yeah, right.
Capers. I think they feel really good about DJ Waller and some of the other guys that they've brought in, but also guys that we haven't seen a ton of, like Cam White, Trent Carter,
Brady Ballard, Tosh Powell,
all those guys. I think that they have really put on, but it's those. And I do kind of wonder. I think Michael McCammon wrote a story about Stanquan Clark earlier this week. We've talked so much about the big weapons on offense, the new weapons on offense, and then with defense, it's, Clev Lubin's a beast. He's an All-American. Tyler Thompson's one of the best players in the portal. Stanquan Clark, in each of the last 2 off seasons, has been heavily pursued by some of the best programs in college football. It was Miami a couple of years ago with some SEC programs this year, and Miami again this year. And we've been able to bring him back. We might be glossing over just how big of a deal that is, because we've seen how different the defense looks when he hasn't been on the field. He's, I think, a guy that could set the world on fire this year.
Yeah, I think the continuity at that position is huge, especially with a kind of under the radar switch in coaching, with Coach Ivey moving up to the defensive line spot and the new co-coordinator. I think Stanquan and TJ Capers both are going to finally kind of put it all together and come into their own. And that just changes the way that they play, both in the run and then supporting the pass rush with those guys and what you can do. I mean, there's athletes all over the place. TJ Capers is built like an NFL linebacker. Stanquan Clark is a guy that was a very, very, very highly rated recruit and has obviously dealt with injuries last year. And then Watts, we saw him make plays. I mean, that's just what he does all over the field, makes plays. And you get a leader back in Ben Perry, who's just grateful to be here.
Another guy that I feel like we're probably not talking about enough, who was, I thought, very good for us here. Didn't do a ton at UCLA last year, but maybe that's more about them than it is us.
Yeah, well, I heard him say, I think it was Coach Ivey that said that, Ben Perry really regretted leaving Louisville and realized he pretty quickly made a mistake.
Everybody does.
Exactly right.
Yeah, everybody does.
What I say, but you bring him in to be kind of the leadership and extension of the coaching staff, and then the development of Matt Lau, Ballard, Cameron White is another one that Mark Ivey has mentioned by name as the defensive coordinator. So, I mean, look at what Capers and Clark have done when they've been, in the rotation. Now put them into full-time spots, and I think this team gets better even without a guy like TJ Quinn, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah, I mean, Quinn was Mr. Reliable. I feel like maybe with some of the guys we're talking about, Capers in particular, who's been a little bit feast or famine when he's been on the field, you've got, I guess, maybe a lower floor, but the ceiling is unquestionably higher with these guys. They're just more naturally gifted.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about what do we need to do to make that jump from we're right there on the precipice to actually getting over the hump and being a team that's in the playoff or flirting with the playoff going into the last week of the regular season, it might be having those talented players, those more talented players, taking on bigger roles.
Yeah.
Where are you? Because one of the things that I heard was they feel good about 3 units, but there is concern with the depth in 3 units.
Okay.
Wide receivers, I think, is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
We all know
a lot
that
of injuries there already.
Yeah, I think we feel good about the guys that we think are going to be the main 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah.
But some of those guys are coming off of injuries, and you're wide receiver. We've had a lot of injuries the last few years.
Right.
I think defensive line in the interior is you're worried a little bit about the starters. They don't seem to be worried about the starters, but they are a little bit worried about the depth there. To me, the most interesting position group is the offensive line.
Yeah.
Just because what I've been told throughout the early part of the offseason was they're going to invest heavily in bulking up the offensive line. They feel like that's the best way to, again, take that quote-unquote proverbial next step. And they went out there and they got a handful of good players from the portal. But there is, when you look at it, I think that there are some question marks, especially when it comes to the depth. I think there's some question marks about moving Lance Robinson. Johnny Brown's new, Casey Henry's new. We've got a handful of younger players that haven't seen much of the field in that probably second group. Where are you with the offensive line? Because as we know, you can have a lot of talented pieces. If the offensive line isn't good, it can blow the whole thing to bleep.
Right. You go back and look at the Louisville Kings' first game of the season.
Yeah,
It's a great example of what you can do in football, and that's just a kind of a recent memory thing. But, offensive line-wise, I do agree that in terms of, the experience, some of the questions around injuries with both a guy like Casey Henry and Evan Wibberly, obviously that comes into to play here. I would like to think that with the experience of Anwar O'Neal and Eric Daughtry and Johnny Brown, that they'll be able to at least come in and be serviceable. Really, to me, this all hinges on Lance Robinson and getting to spend some time with him this offseason. He is motivated. He is a great leader and totally understands what he needs to do from being the only one left on the starting line from last year and helping these guys get ready. But at the same time, he's got to move to a new position, which he has played all three positions on the line across his college career. So he is extremely experienced, but in terms of fit and being able to call out the plays and call the signals and be, that guy up front that a Pete Nigra and a Brian Hudson have been, that's a big, big step. And I think that if he can do that somewhat seamlessly, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. But if not, if there's struggles there, I think you'll see the rest of the line struggle because they're new, trying to get in position, all of those things. I just think that is kind of what's going to hinge on this group being successful. But I like the fact that you do have a guy like Cam Gorin, who is second on the depth chart last year as a true freshman. That to me makes me feel comfortable that they've got at least a guy, maybe 2 or 3 guys that they can go to off the bench, that if there is issues, they can try to mess with the unit and get it right where it needs to be.
It's scary because of the setup of the schedule this year.
Yes.
The last couple of years playing your FCS opponent or your group of 5 opponent the first week in the first 2 weeks, you've kind of known, because we've been portal heavy the last several years.
Right.
You've kind of known, all right, if everything's not up to snuff, if we do have issues, they'll reveal themselves these first couple of weeks, and they'll reveal themselves while we're still winning handily.
Right.
Playing Ole Miss in week 1, we've had this happen before in the past too, where it's like, probably the most famous example is the Dave Ragone year, where we're the highest preseason ranking in Louisville football history. We're like we're doing the Dave Ragone bobbleheads. We're like, oh my God, we're going to be incredible. And then Dave almost dies the first game because we've got no offensive line. Yeah. It's like Happy Gilmore when he's like, oh yeah, putting. That's like there's a very real world where we go out there against Ole Miss and we're like, oh yeah, like. Offensive line, like Lance isn't ready for the center spot. This guy's not ready to play here.
Yeah,
and we've got Isaac Brown and all these dudes that just can't get any sort of space against an SEC team.
Right,
like it's nerve-wracking.
And not to mention how bad the penalties have been with false starts the last couple of years and issues up front, illegal procedures, too many men on the field. Yeah. I mean, that type of stuff matters. And Jeff's teams have always historically struggled with penalties already. Mix in a group that maybe is new, trying to find their roles, maybe people aren't in the right spots.
Sure.
I mean, early on against a group like Ole Miss, that has the potential to get kind of ugly for them, or at least put their feet to the fire pretty quickly. But my thing is, Villanova, I understand they're a really good FCS school, but when you start to turn the corner the next 2 weeks after that with SMU and Wake Forest, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but in a world where your offensive line and defensive line struggle, that could look vastly different than what we expect it to look.
Sure.
Like. I think most Louisville fans say, hey, we're walking out of there 3-1, 4-0, and moving on. But I could see a scenario if things aren't right, where they lose a couple of games early on, because those are 2 of the best teams in the ACC they're going to take on in the first 4 weeks of the season. They're going to find out really fast.
Imagine worst case scenario happens against Ole Miss, and the offense isn't able to really accomplish much because the O-line's not doing, or wide receivers can't get, whatever it may be.
Whatever it is, right.
The other thing is you've got 4 days to get ready for Villanova at that point. You're going Sunday, Friday, which feels wildly unfair.
Wild. Yeah.
I still think that you should be not in a position where you're worried about losing that game, but you might be worried about things getting fixed that quickly. And then thankfully you will have, I guess, an extra day to prepare for SMU, which could wind up being the biggest game in conference play for the entire season. But you're right. I mean, I think that we all remember, I think back to the 2015 season where you spend the entire summer getting ready for, hyping up football. And you're like, I can't wait. We got Auburn week 1. And then bing, bang, boom, you're 0-3. And it's like, okay, all the dreams are out the window. Like, you can't have a special season.
Right.
The good thing about the expanded playoff is even if you dropped one of those 2 conference games in September and you got your ass kicked by Ole Miss, you can say, hey, man, we go 8-1 in the league. We still are going to have a good chance at playing in that conference championship game. There's still a lot to play for. But you go 0-2, it's like everything's kind of out the window, and you're already just starting to think about like basketball and then next year in football. It's going to be a very high risk, high reward opening month for Jeff Brom and company.
It is, and that's exciting when you have a team that I think is the most talented team, top to bottom that he's had since he's been here.
Same.
But at the same time, Ole Miss isn't Western Kentucky. They're not, an ACC, middle of the pack ACC school. This is a team that it's a college football playoff team. I know they're under transition with a new head coach and, losing a lot of pieces. But, I mean, things can get really ugly here really quick in a year where you have high expectations. But also, Mike, things could get off to a roaring start. Louisville could come out and, look like world beaters. Yeah. Some of the years that we saw them dominate early on in the season. And you could be looking at a team and say, wow, they handled that stretch of games like that. I'm not sure there's another stretch of 4 games like that to where I'm going to be concerned that they can't be a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, you go 4-0, you become one of the stories of the first month of the college football season, entering October, and we haven't had that the last few years. Even though we've done well in September, we haven't beaten anybody that has really made us take notice. We got to go to break. When we come back, you cool with taking some questions from the Game Day Men's Health text line?
Let's do it.
We'll make that happen after the break. It's Mike Rutherford Show. Jacob Blaine's in the house here. We're at Walk-On's Bistro in Clarksville, Indiana. We'll be here until 6. That's when the happy hour price drinks and appetizers will stop, so stop by and see us before then. We'll be back after this. It's the Rutherford Show, 1450 96.1, Big X Sports Radio.
Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect spot for a healthy alternative to fast food. They provide a variety of freshly made sandwiches, as well as salads and delicious soups. And you can dine in or take it to go. They also have many dinner options such as ham, turkey, frozen sides, and desserts, which provide a complete meal. Catering is also available for small groups or large gatherings. Call Honey Baked Ham today, 812-941-9426, or visit them, 3602 Northgate Court, Suite 23 in New Albany.
Kratz Sporting Goods is Southern Indiana's team sports specialist and is your local Adidas team product dealer. Kratz specializes in outfitting your team, organization, club, or business in apparel, hard goods, and accessories from Adidas and many others. Kratz offers fundraising opportunities for your team, organization, or club through online web stores. Let our friendly staff get you started today by calling 812-282-5400 or visit and shop at our website at kratzsports.com.
Guns, gears, and great deals. Say it with me. Everything concealed carry. With over 1,000 firearms in stock, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Shop SIG, Smith & Wesson, HK, Glock, and more. Plus the best selection of used guns in Louisville. Looking for premium? Check out Kimber, Dan Wesson at Wilson Combat. We pay cash for guns, and we always have specials. Visit Everything Concealed Carry, 10306 Taylorsville Road in the heart of J-Town. Everything Concealed Carry, your best shot at a great deal.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a diehard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know this man can fight and win. In an accident or hurt on the job, call Collier Law Firm. That's C-O-L-Y-E-R Law Firm. Call today.
I spend my days teaching 5th graders that big things are built one step at a time.
And at home, we're living that lesson. I'm Kevin Miles.
I'm Rachel, wife, teacher, and we're getting ready to welcome our baby boy.
We can't wait. We're practicing being big siblings.
Crossbase Medic is our family business, built on one simple belief. Your home should feel safe, comfortable, and healthy for the people you love most.
Crossbase Medic, a healthy home starts from the ground up. You can find us at crossbasemedic.com.
Become a Louisville men's basketball season ticket member today. Fresh off back-to-back seasons with over 20 wins, the KFC Yum Center is the place to be all season long. Learn more about the season ticket member experience and view available seating options today at gocards.com/MBBinfo. Go Cards!
Card Nation, join the excitement and secure your Louisville women's basketball season tickets today for the 2026-27 season. For more information and to purchase your season ticket, visit gocards.com/WBB tickets.
Options. When it comes to insurance, that's exactly what you deserve. I'm Chad Hennessy with InsureMax, and I've been proudly serving the Louisville area for over 25 years. As an independent agent, we work with auto owners insurance to find coverage that fits you, not the other way around. InsureMax delivers strength, service, and peace of mind through partners like Auto Owners Insurance. More choices, more options. Call me, Chad Hennessy, at 502-479-4085.
More storms arrive after midnight tonight, mainly into early Saturday morning. Flash flood is our number one concern, followed by some gusty winds. Temperatures will be in the lower 70s overnight tonight. Bit of a break in that storm activity midday Saturday, and then additional storms by Saturday evening. Again, the alert day continues. Flash flooding concerns are a real problem. 2 to 4 inches of rain in some spots. I'm Wave Storm Tracking Team meteorologist Ryan Hoke.
This is Dugan Ryan. I would love the opportunity to talk with you about how we can help grow your business and have your business's brand associated with Big X Sports Radio. Give me a call today at 812-725-1457.
This is Kentuckiana's only locally owned sports talk. The Big X, AM 1450 and 96.1 FM. WXVW Jeffersonville. W241CK Jeffersonville.
Holly came from Miami, FLA. Hitchhiked her way across USA. Plucked her eyebrows on the way.
Welcome back in. It's the 4 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show. 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio live here from the remote today University of Louisville College of Business Studios. It's Walk-On's Sports Bistro in Clarksville, Indiana. We're right across the street from. You got the Bob Evans there. You got the Golden Corral there. You got the fireworks place that's open 24 hours every day, 365 days a year. Not just during the 4th of July. You got everything out here in Clarksville. Stop by and see us. Take advantage of some of the half-priced drinks and appetizers that they got going on for the next 2 hours. Jacob Lane of State of Louisville is in the house as well. Do you want to give a shout out to it's your wife's birthday, right?
Yeah, yesterday technically was her birthday. Today was our, as adults, you can't really take your birthday off anymore.
No one has an actual birthday anymore. It's
Right.
like a time period where you can celebrate the birthday
That's exactly
inside
right.
of it.
So yesterday was her birthday, with kids and work and all that. We did the full, shebang. And then today we, went out and made a day, got a babysitter and took the day off work and, just trying to make her feel special.
So you're doing the show while the babysitter's got the kids on your wife's birthday celebration day.
Yeah, we picked the kids up. Well, so my
now
daughter,
I feel bad about this.
No. So it's not as bad as it sounds. It sounds bad. It does sound bad as I'm explaining it. On her birthday, I did choose to do radio. But so my son is home every day in the summer, all day long. So he has a 4-year-old, and he doesn't do like any of the summer schools or camps or preschools or anything. And then my daughter is in their summer program, so she's gone all day at school doing her thing. So he is the one that we got a babysitter for. Dropped him off at my mother-in-law's this morning, but they have a 2.5, 3 hour max window of we can only handle 4-year-old boy for so much. I'm sure your in-laws and your parents know the deal as well with how chaotic young toddler boys can be.
I do. I mean, so we've had everyone has the different summer activities. We send our kids this week. They had a vacation Bible school. And a hush falls over the crowd. It's fine. It's
love a good VBS.
Every year we bring this up. People are like, "Oh my god!" They sing songs, they make crafts. It's something, and it's kids from all different walks of life, all different faiths.
No, they're teaching them how to go knock door to door.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing.
They're not putting them in little suits and making them canvas door to door, asking if they've heard the magic of Jesus Christ.
Right, exactly.
It's not actually happening. But so they're there for a couple of hours in the morning. They've enjoyed it. So I think it was yesterday. I picked the kids up, picked John up from his little group, signed him out. I picked up my niece, Audrey, and my daughter, Virginia. And the guy who's the leader of their group just looks at me and just goes, "Go Big Blue, man."
Oh, man.
I was like, at Bible school, dude? Come on.
I'm sure you get that a lot, though.
Yeah, but come on. The only thing that rivaled it was at midnight, Christmas Eve Mass. One year. This was one of the years, I think it was the Damian Lee year, where they played the day immediately after Christmas.
Yeah.
It's on the 26th, which always sucked because it's Christmas is over. It's right into bleep Kentucky mode. During the sign of peace, I turned around and this guy just goes, "L's down." As I'm shaking hands, I was like, "Are you kidding me? It's Christmas Eve Mass." But
the rivalry has no date, no
just
time.
Doesn't take any time off.
Holidays,
but and he kind of smiled, "Oh, it's funny." I was like, "Not really, dude." I was like, it's Christmas for God's sake. This was before kids, so thankfully I was just whatever.
Make a scene.
Believe that guy. But yeah, I'm picking up my kids from Bible school. Go Big Blue, man. Dude, come on, take care of my kids. That's all I'm asking for. Big thanks also to Troy Turbeville. He is a gigantic Cards fan. I think a lot of you probably follow him on Twitter at Ville on the Ville. Dropped off some gifts for us. The cocktail kickboards that he has licensed and throws out there. If you want to have drinks in the pool while, not having to swim to the side
or hold your drink the whole time.
Hold your drink. They got little holders for your phones right there.
It's incredible.
Boom. Right there. Great for koozies, great for whatever. They've got fantastic for summer. Cocktail kickboards. Boom. They're baby boards now as well. They got the full-on kickboards and the baby boards as well. We have to give away a couple of these bad boys this summer.
Those things are awesome. If you mean giveaway to me, then that sounds
well,
great.
you can absolutely
I will take
when
one
you
of
leave
those
there.
for sure.
Yeah, that will happen. Big thanks to Troy for stopping by and seeing us here at Walk-Ons in Clarksville, Indiana. Again, the Gameday Mens Health text line is 502-414-1450. Let's get a couple of your texts here as we get into the 4 o'clock hour. Do you have a score from the World Cup game, by the way? Is there anything going on? It is 1-1. At halftime between Spain and Belgium. We got Summer League on here.
I was going to say, I think it's just this is a rerun.
Oh, it's highlights of the Summer
from last
League.
night. Darren Peterson, 9 fouls. How about that?
Spain and Belgium. Spain scored the first goal, Ruiz, in the 30th minute, and then Belgium equalized in the 41st minute. I don't know if this makes you feel better or worse about the way that we played. We kind of had this conversation yesterday. I don't think that anything that happens in this match is going to make you feel any better about the way the Americans played on Monday night.
Such a bummer.
Or Tuesday night.
So
whatever
close.
that was. Trevor just texted me and said, I used to go to Bible school. Now that's not exactly a vote of confidence for my kids. Now I'm reconsidering it. We may not have to. This may not be able to happen next year.
At your kids' camp, there is a Trevor there. That's what's happening.
I mean, a future Trevor. That's
future Trevor.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Pull your kids out immediately of VBS.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Texture says, I have a would you rather question for both Trevor and Mike. Buckle up because it's a penis one. Great. That's a wonderful way to start the text today.
There we go.
Disclaimer, no one else will be aware of the decision you make. We're on the radio. Now I'm even more intrigued. Mike, would you rather have your penis cut off in an accident, like a car crash or a shaving mishap, or both your children lose one limb in the same accident? This would either be an arm or a leg, clean cut off, and they will have the ability for a prosthetic. Trevor, would you rather lose your penis or know your mom only has 60 days left to live and will die immediately of an aneurysm on the 61st day?
What is this?
This is some insane stuff. This guy sent this text in at 2:30 on the dot. He had this planned out. Yeah. He knew exactly what he was going to do and wasted no time.
He drafted that in a note.
He was desperate to have this be the first text read on the show today. I'm going to let Trevor answer first. Trevor, would you rather lose your penis or know your mom only has 60 days left to live and will die immediately of an aneurysm on the 61st day?
Well, for starters, I'm curious how this shaving mishap is going to occur. But outside of that, I would, yes, to save my mom's life. I would give up my penis to save yours.
Oh, that's the nicest thing you've ever said on the show.
Well, I spend more time with you than I do it.
That's okay. That's yeah. I mean, I think of the Office quote with Kevin. It's like no arms and no legs is pretty much how you live already. You don't do anything. It's like your penis is doing nothing. Yeah, I would sacrifice my penis to save my children's limbs. I don't know. I don't know where else to go from there. I think any good father would sacrifice their penis to save a limb for their children.
Yeah, you've already used it enough times. You're good.
I don't think we're having any more kids.
I
think we're good to go at that point. I mean, would I be upset? Sure. I mean, I enjoy having a penis. I enjoy the things that you can do with your penis. But I've had 41 good years, and my kids are very young. I wouldn't want them to go through the rest of the. We were watching the show. I mentioned this yesterday. All Her Fault, and there's a guy. He's a Hispanic actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I know him most from the outtakes from Eastbound and Down, where he's making the fart noise and they can't keep it together. He's in that. He's been in some other stuff too. But anyways, his character is this police officer, and they have a 9-year-old son or 13-year-old son who has special needs, and he's at this school where it's like they're not equipped to handle special needs kids at all. And so this very rich guy calls him and is like, hey, this big attorney, his kid just got arrested with Xanax, and this is going on as public record. And the police officer, the character, is like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, he'll have to go through some programs, but it'll be off his record in a couple of years. And the guy's like, well, he needs to apply to schools soon. He's applying to colleges. And he's like, what? He's like, he said it was Tylenol that they found him with in this pill bottle. And the guy's like, well, it wasn't. It was Xanax. And he's like, well, what if it was Tylenol? And the cop is like, what are you saying? He's like, I'm saying if this kid happened to be found with Tylenol and this all goes away, your kid's going to get into St. Mark's, this like fancy school that they've been trying to get their special needs kid into for years and years and years. And they show scenes where the kid is being neglected at his current school, and he's been sitting there and he's defecating his pants and all this stuff. And the cop, his response, he's like, I'm not that guy. I'll never be that guy. Like, I'm not going to taint my legacy. You've gone the wrong way. So we're watching that show, and Mary just goes, would you do that for your, would you lie and cheat for your, and instantly I was like, yeah. Like no hesitation whatsoever. I would sacrifice my integrity. I would risk my jobs to get my kids somewhere. And I think the storyline is trending to a direction where he's eventually going to rethink it and do what's best for his kid. But yeah, there was no doubt whatsoever. I would do heinous things to get my kids into better situations in life, for sure.
No doubt.
I mean, I think that's the way it goes.
If anything, the guilt you can put on
the guy who sent that text and says, yeah, I've been thinking about this one since yesterday.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
I wonder what sparked that one.
Appreciate it. Trevor's stepdad has texted in. Says, TK, you can join the college fantasy league with me and Speedy Tom. Send me your email and I'll get you added. Trevor, do you have interest in playing college fantasy football with your stepdad and Speedy Tom?
I'm sending him my email right now on the text line.
Boom. Jacob, we talked about this yesterday. College fantasy football now is a thing on Yahoo. They're launching it this year.
Saw that.
Do you have any interest in doing this?
Yes, I do. So I played fantasy college basketball last year. There was one of the apps, I think, launched it. Yeah, it was actually pretty fun.
How involved is that, though? 356 teams.
It was a lot, and it was mid-majors and low majors, everything. So, you're looking for, I know this was a couple years ago, but, Anthony Roy at Green Bay, you're like, I need one of these guys.
So the dude's averaging 23 points for Hampton. They get you just as much as, Cam Boozer.
That's right. And so I did that last year, and I remember they had fantasy football for college, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I did a league with a lot of local media guys, and it fizzled out pretty quickly. But I would give it a try. My challenge with college football is there's just too many players and too many teams. So I don't know, who the running back is at Texas State, like I know who the point guard is at Manhattan College.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a different ball game for me. So, but I'll give any fantasy football a try.
It's funny you say that because Yahoo came out with their two college experts had their big board for college fantasy, and the number one player is the quarterback for Texas State.
Yeah,
who had I think combined 38 touchdowns passing and rushing last season.
Yeah.
You got to find those guys.
Exactly. I think the year I played, I want to say it was maybe Cam Ward was one of the top fantasy football players or something. I mean, this was a while back. It was in the pre 2020 even. So it was, you're looking for guys that are just touchdown yards machines, and most of those guys don't play at the Power 5 level.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Texas says, is this legit that Reese Alston may reclassify into 2026? If so, do we have an open spot for him? There's a story out there. There was a story out there today about, for reasons about Louisville's recruitment of Reese Alston, who's playing right now in Vegas. He, if you remember, we've talked about this a couple of times. He is the son of the Rutherford Alston, who was skipped to Mylou, and then ended up having a pretty productive career in the NBA. He is, as of this moment, a 5-star top 10 player overall in the class of 2027. There was a story out there today. Again, I don't think you can find it now. That had a quote from Rutherford Alston saying, "We think we may need to reclassify for 2026." I don't know if that's possible. I don't. This is, to my knowledge, at least from someone who has followed this recruitment a little bit, this has kind of come out of nowhere. The quote was, I think the exact quote was, "I'm starting to think that Reese should look at reclassifying into 2026. I'll talk to him about that." Which sounds like a dad that's not really, hasn't really thought this out.
Are you sure that's not Christopher Brown that said that? I need to read that again.
It was very, it played, and I'd have to ask the other Jacob about this, but it read as somebody who was just like, yeah, it sounds like a cool thing. Other kids are doing this. They're getting a lot of attention. Maybe we should do this. I don't know how serious it is. If you were to get Reese Alston to reclassify, and I think that Louisville is widely considered to be the front runner for his services whenever he does play college basketball, I mean, you would take him. I don't know where he would fit in. I think that they feel good about London Johnson as the backup point guard right now. Immediately, Reese Alston, though, would probably slot in as the guy most likely to be the backup to Jackson Shelstead. I don't think that this is something that I'm not gonna say Pat Kelsey wouldn't want this to happen, but I do know they feel really good about the chemistry that they're building with their guys right now. They're big on when that first summer session starts in early June. They want everybody who's going to be their team there at the same time. They want everybody to go through the same process, and they've been sort of reluctant once they get into summer to have new additions come available. And I think that was even the case. There was some debate, and I said this on the radio before we found out where he was going. There was some debate behind the scenes about, do we want to bring Milan Momcilovic in? I think that Pat Kelsey, obviously, they did, but there was still some back and forth about, we really like what we've put together. They're already all on campus right now. The secret sauce, as Kelsey refers to it, of the gelling and the chemistry stuff has already started. So they're very reluctant in these types of situations. So I don't think it would be ideal for them. I think they'd love to have Reese Alston come in next year and be kind of that freshman point guard that Michael was supposed to be and was to a degree a year ago. But yeah, his dad is just kind of tossing that quote out there is is a weird thing.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I mean, literally the quote is, this may be something that we need to look into. I'll talk to him about it. I don't know what you do with that. Okay.
Let us know.
We'll find out. Yeah. Let us know. But I know that he was, I said Vegas earlier. I think Pat's in Vegas today. I think this was in Richmond where he was watching Reese Alston play yesterday, I want to say. But the kid can play.
The kid is really good. I was a huge Rutherford Alston fan when he played in the NBA. Just his, obviously being an and one guy was cool and making it to the NBA, but just the way that he played was really fun. My favorite Rutherford Alston memory. That's probably not a phrase that's ever been uttered on your show before.
Yeah.
This was a great moment. I want to say it was in 2006. It was the year the Lakers and the Magic played in the NBA Finals, but the Boston Celtics and the Magic were in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think. And do you remember Eddie House?
Of course.
Eddie House hit a three and went to run up the floor. Or maybe it was Rayford that hit a three, and Rayford Alston just turns around and smacks the back of Eddie House's head like his son. Just one of the greatest moments, and NBA got a technical for it. But that's what I'll forever remember about Rayford Alston. So sign me up for his son if that's the kind of energy we're getting at point guard.
There you go. Ohio guy says, hey, Mark and Trevor, considering you both are in your 40s, do you agree with Caroline Lovett that Gen Z is lazy? Keep in mind she's married to a guy that's 30 years older than her that is a millionaire. We both are in our 40s now. Jacob, you've got a few years to go, I think, until you hit the 40s. Where are you right now? It's 33. I was going to say 34.
33,
so that was close. You enjoy the 30s.
We're still rounding down right now.
You're still fine. You're not having random stuff happen with your body anymore where you're like, what the bleep is that? Is that something that I should be super concerned with?
I got a colonoscopy before I was 30. So
did you really?
I did, yeah. How about that?
I haven't gotten one yet. I'm pushing. They say 45 is when you're supposed to get one. I'm waiting until I hit that 45 mark. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Just very body conscious. Yeah, right. Just listening a little bit. Do I think that Gen Z is lazy? No. I think that every generation in the history of mankind has thought that the generations that have come after them have been lazy. I think there's a Time magazine cover from 1930 where it says, what's wrong with the youth of America? Of course, that generation ended up being pretty good for America. So I think this is a thing that happens. It's not going to stop happening anytime soon. Texter says, I had never seen or heard of Mullet Review Guy before your show yesterday. Now he's all over my Facebook feed. This is how stuff works. If you don't even have to be interested. You don't have to search things anymore. Everything's listening to you. If you think about something that you've heard on the radio, it's going to start popping up on your targeted ads. Have you heard of the Mullet Review Guy?
I have not.
Who's doing these? I sent one of them to Trevor last night because he did a second. So this guy basically is going to Chinese buffets.
Okay.
Across the.
Oh, I did see this.
Yes.
He came to Louisville. Yeah.
He's been at Louisville.
The jumbo buffet off Hurstbourne.
And he did the Unami yesterday.
Okay.
And his the videos are a minute 30 long. They're fantastic. Like he's going to as many Chinese buffets as he can until he gets food poisoning from one of them, at which point he will stop. So he's eating the grossest, weirdest stuff that he can find at all these buffets.
Jumbo buffet fits that description.
He gets crab rangoon everywhere he goes. He's gooning. He's like, we're definitely gooning.
How could you not? Right.
He did not love the goon that he had yesterday.
Okay.
But if there's pizza there, he always has to try the pizza. And the guy, he's got a very good choice. The best was he got some rib or something at the one that he went to yesterday in Louisville, and there's a giant hair on it. And he's like, he's like, zoom in on that hair. He's like, get that hair right there. And it's clearly his wife or significant other who's filming, because then he takes a bite of it, and right as he does it, like, we never hear the camera person talk. She just goes, Robert. Like she's like, no.
So ashamed.
And then he eats it, and he immediately goes, it wasn't worth the hair. He's like, he like pulls the hair. You can lose a solid night just going through all of his videos. They're very, very entertaining. Texter says, that's what we need. Dugan Ryan on the radio. This is his baseball dad buddy Hunter from Fern Creek. He has no idea who you are, Hunter. He's shaking his head right now. No clue whatsoever. He's already forgotten you. He made a gross face, actually, now. Now he's remembering. I'm just joking. Shout out to Hunter from Fern Creek. We love you. Shout out. CFB Cubs fan Brian. This guy. Suck it, Mike. Great way to start. In honor of the Cubs and Reds facing off today, here's how little I'm paying attention. I didn't even know we were playing the Cubs today. I knew we lost 1-0 yesterday. I refuse to pay more attention than I have to. I didn't even know we were playing the Cubs. I probably knew a month ago, and I forgot. In honor of the Cubs and the Reds facing off today, I thought I'd share a fun fact about your team that'll make you feel better. This guy. I can't stand this guy. The Reds' third base position makes up about 17.5% of the organization's total payroll, while contributing a -1 WAR this season. It is now a bad time to say they traded for one third baseman and signed the other in free agency. Anywho, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. I mean, we're probably going to trade Suarez again before the deadline. Key Brian Hayes, I did love, like the bats. With the bats have hit like 534 home runs. Everybody that gets sent down there immediately just starts just crushing the ball out of Slugger Field. But he hit a home run the other night, and they the admin just tweeted out like he's Cincinnati ready, and I was like, he's not. He's hitting 123 for Cincinnati, and he's not even being that great defensively. Yeah, the good thing is our third highest paid player this year, I think, is Jamer Candelario, who has not been with the team for a year and a half. Our highest paid player is Ken Griffey Jr. still, so that's good.
That's incredible.
Podcast Random Thoughts guy says, PRTG here. Trevor's just going to use AI to make his voice speak perfect German. Below is an image just to give TK motivation. Mike looks like Rich Eisen. He did an AI image of the show, like the one that Roman had done. Mike looks like Rich Eisen, I do, and Trevor looks sad because I used the picture from his vacation to Illinois. Sheffer strikes again with that Philly gambler. Good thing it wasn't a Mike Moffitt type bookie. Hammer throw, didn't you ever see Matilda? I did see Matilda. I don't like the way that I look at all in this AI image. Trevor looks like I looks terrible. I mean, the other one I look like 15 years younger, which I appreciated. Trevor looks a little bit like Steve Bannon, the disgraced former.
A very angry one.
He looks like angry Steve Bannon reading something off the text line. We will never use this image. This is a terrible image. I'm also drinking out of a cup that says Louisville versus all y'all, while Trevor's drinking out of a coffee mug that says best producer ever. I mean, I enjoy the ingenuity. I just don't like the way that I look at this picture. It's a good effort. It's solid AI. Brody Dumper says, I'm going on Bambi walk tonight for some younger cousins. I could use some advice. All they said the theme is Justin Bieber. Should I be Lyme disease Bieber or face paralysis Bieber? How do you even do a Bieber theme? First of all, I can't, as someone who did the Bambi walk a couple of times in my early 20s, I can't imagine even trying to do it now. Bieber theme?
I think you got to go buzz cut, fully tattooed Bieber.
I would do face paralysis Bieber. Remember when he had that thing going?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you can get your face in that working position for a couple of times, for somehow to stick there, that's what I would do. Did you ever do Bambi walk back in the day, Jacob?
No, I was ashamedly going to ask you, what is the Bambi walk?
Okay, so it's I don't hear about it as much now. It could just be that I'm older. It could be that people don't do it anymore. It was you start at the Bambi bar at the very beginning of Bardstown Road.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then you keep going down, and you have to stop and have one drink at every bar that you go to. The first time I did it, I don't think we really knew the rules. We were going to like random restaurants and like going up to the bar in the restaurant and having a drink. So by the time we got to like the big bars like Molly's and Flanagan's and O'Shea's, I mean, I was like falling over.
Oh yeah,
it was terrible.
You're lost at that point.
I think there was the second time I did it, I was a little bit older. I was like 26, 27, and I knew better. And so there were a couple of bars early on where I was like, I'm skipping the drinks here, or I'm not going to do the shots with you guys because that's ridiculous.
Right.
And I made it through the rest of the night, but the first time was bad.
Yeah, I feel like I would probably go way too hard the first like 4 bars and then be done and not make it, knowing myself. But yeah, I never did that. I got married at 23 years old and had my first child at 24, so I missed out on all of the fun stuff with that. Man.
There is that, yeah. The first time I did it, I do remember it was for somebody's 21st birthday, which is right in the wheel. But I think we did the thing too, where it's like the Bambi Bar is kind of fun. They've got video games, so
Bambi Bar is awesome.
So like I think we stayed there for like 3 drinks. I'm like, we're defeating the whole purpose here. We're already off to a terrible start. It's like 6:30 and we're already slurring our words. It was bad. We gotta go to a break. When we come back, we will have. I got a couple of things that we have not touched on just yet. We'll get Jacob's thoughts on those. We'll get back to the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. We'll make some predictions for the weekend ahead in sports, and then we will wrap this bad boy up. It's the Mike Rutherford Show. Hour number 3 is next, live from Walk On Sports Bistro in Clarksville, here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio.
Take a walk on the wild side. Said, hey, honey, take a walk on the wild side.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or soccer, swimming or tennis, our Bulldogs are giving it their all on the field and court. So let's rally behind them, New Albany. Come out to the games, cheer them on, and let's make some noise. Let's show everyone what it means to be a part of the best city in Southern Indiana. Go Bulldogs.
Guns, Gears, Deal. It's everything concealed carry. With over 1,000 firearms in stock, we've got what you're looking for. Fast. SIG, Smith & Wesson, HK, Glock, plus the best selection of used guns in Louisville. Looking for premium? Kimber, Dan Wesson, Wilson Combat. Selling? We've got selling. We pay cash for guns, and we always have specials. Don't wait. Get in today. Everything Concealed Carry, 10306 Taylorsville Road in the heart of J-Town. Everything Concealed Carry. Serious selection, serious value.
Card Nation, join the excitement and secure your Louisville women's basketball season tickets today for the 2026-27 season. For more information and to purchase your season ticket, visit gocards.com/WBB tickets.
Become a Louisville men's basketball season ticket member today. Fresh off back-to-back seasons with over 20 wins, the KFC Yum Center is the place to be all season long. Learn more about the season ticket member experience and view available seating options today at gocards.com/MBBinfo. Go Cards!
Options. When it comes to insurance, that's exactly what you deserve. I'm Chad Hennessy with InsureMax, and I've been proudly serving the Louisville area for over 25 years. As an independent agent, we work with auto owners insurance to find coverage that fits you, not the other way around. InsureMax delivers strength, service, and peace of mind through partners like Auto Owners Insurance. More choices, more options. Call me, Chad Hennessy, at 502-479-4085.
Hello, I'm Sean Burke, President and owner of United Mechanical. My Christian faith is the foundation on which my company operates. Since 1999, United Mechanical's workforce has provided quality and dependable HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and refrigeration services for all of Kentuckiana's commercial and industrial businesses. Our mission is simple: to deliver a comprehensive array of reliable services in an ethical manner and always put our client first. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133. That's 502-339-1133.
Defining a new era in men's health, Gameday Men's Health delivers real results with no shortcuts. From testosterone replacement, weight loss to peptides, vitamins, and sexual performance therapy, Gameday Men's Health will have you covered. Their in-house lab gives you answers in just 15 minutes, and our clinic is designed for men who value privacy, speed, and results. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Real men, real science, most importantly, real change. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Roosters is the place to watch your favorite teams play. From college to the pros, Roosters has all the games. Plus, you're gonna love the food at Roosters. Come watch the games and enjoy 79-cent boneless wings every Monday. Roosters with 6 Kentuckiana locations: Dixie Highway, Preston Highway, Fern Creek, Shelbyville Road, Springhurst, and in Clarksville.
When design is key to your landscape project, give Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design a call at 812-288-6691. Walnut Ridge has more experience than any landscape company in the area. Remember, Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design. When design is key to your project and you want the most experienced landscaping company in the area. Give Walnut Ridge a call at 812-288-6691. Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design. When design is key.
Here comes Johnny singing oldies goldies. Babalula, baby, what I say. Here comes Johnny singing, I got a woman down in the tunnel trying to make it pay. He got the action, he got the motion.
Welcome back in. It's the third hour, final hour of the week here on the Mike Rutherford Show, 1450, 96.1. Big X Sports Radio. Mike Rutherford, Jacob Lane here with you at Walk-On's Bistro in Clarksville, the remote U of L College of Business studios today. Stop by and see us. Take advantage of the appetizer deals and the drink deals that are going on until 6 o'clock. Quick update from Inglewood. Spain and Belgium still knotted in the 69th minute. Nice. In the World Cup quarterfinal that the Americans were supposed to be playing in. We'll keep you updated on that front. We've also got Scottish Open, baby. 3-way tie atop the leaderboard across the pond. Jordan Smith, Tom Kim, and Rory McIlroy all at 9 under. Who's winning the ISCO right now? Is it Lucas Glover? I saw earlier over there at Hurstbourne Country Club. Yeah, still in first. Lucas Glover, 13 under par through 2 rounds. You've got a couple of other notable names that are close to the top. Taylor Pendrith is up there at 7 under. Joel Damon, darling of the Netflix series, is up there at 6 under. How's our boy Adam Hadwin doing? 4 under par, still on the course right now, 1 under. We were talking. I think you guys did a feature, Jacob, over at State of Louisville last year after the ISCO about how well Hurstbourne held up, and they had a bunch of stats. I think is it number 8 that plays as a par 5, plays as a par 4, usually played it plays as a par 5, usually played as a par 4 on the course. I think it was like the 5th toughest hole on the PGA Tour last year. The course held up very well. It's looking a little bit more gettable through 2 days so far this year. Maybe that has something to do with all the rain that we had last week, softening up the course just a little bit. But still, I know it's a lesser event because all the big dogs are across at the Scottish Open getting ready for the Open next week. It's still a very cool thing to have the PGA Tour come through Louisville and play at a course that a lot of people have some familiarity with. I'm hoping that Lucas Glover, whoever doesn't get up there like 22, 23 under par to win this thing. But it's still year 2. It sounds like it's going very well out there.
Yeah. I'm not a big golf guy.
You haven't made it out there?
Nope.
Still.
It's Presley that's the golfer on our side.
Cool to have the PGA Tour at Hurstbourne.
I mean, I think anytime you have a major sporting event in Louisville, it's a really big deal. Louisville continues to put themselves as a city on the map for hosting sports, and to have a place like Hurstbourne. I've been there multiple times, worked a couple of different outings out there. It's a beautiful course, man. So I'm here for it. I love it.
We had some women's basketball news on the U of L front today. I don't think they've made it official yet, but there are widespread reports that Louisville has added in another assistant coach, Roman Tubner, who has been at Tennessee for the past couple of years, is reportedly going to join Jeff Walls' staff. He spent, I think, 13 years in coaching before taking the job at Tennessee, now 15 years in total. He had spent some time at Auburn. He had spent some time at Alabama. He had just all over the SEC, it looks like. A lot of stuff going on there. He was the assistant coach at UNC Wilmington for a couple of years, and then was also in Terre Haute, Indiana, serving as the director of recruiting at Indiana State for a season in 2018-19. For whatever reason, it feels like we've done a lot of exchanging with Tennessee and women's basketball over the years. They took an assistant from us a couple of years ago. I think we've taken a couple of assistants from them. Look, Indiana is a still prestigious women's basketball program. I know they're not what they used to be when Pat Summitt was there, but taking an assistant from them at this late stage, good news. Whatever. I'm good with it. Why not? Let's go. Roman Tubner, welcome to Louisville. Once again, another assistant coach who is younger than I am. Born August 16th, 1989. Don't care for that, but whatever.
That's starting to happen to me now, too.
I hate it. I mean, the head coach, like seeing Will Stein and like talking to him and then being like, yeah, you're the head coach of Kentucky.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
You were like little bro, when you were playing at U of L, and we were doing the Sonny Will Stein stuff, and now, you're the guy. I'm not ready for it.
The same thing has happened to me with Skylar Cassidy, who's now the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. I used to ride the bus with him when we were in middle school and high school, when his dad was the DC here for Bobby. And this kid was a tiny little runt, just a little itty bitty thing, and now he is the youngest defensive coordinator in D1 football history. I mean, that's just what am I doing with my life?
At least we're not there at Louisville yet. I remember telling David when he got the interim head coaching job, because David and I, we were in the same class, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But he's, I think, 3 months younger than I am. And I was like, dude, I thought I had 15 more years before we got into the Louisville coaches being younger
age.
than I am, or my age.
Right.
I was like, I don't like this one bit. And he was like, I don't know what you want me to say. Sorry. But at least now with Jeff and Pat and, Jeff Walls and Dan McDonald, we're still very much in they're all older than I am, which I appreciate, but I know that day's coming too. And I don't like that one bit. Speaking of baseball, we started the show off with this, but I do want to pick your brain. Big news on the baseball front today, not unexpected news,
right,
but it's now official that Louisville has brought in 2 former pitchers to essentially, I don't want to say this. It's definitely not a demotion. Roger Williams is still on the staff. But these guys are basically going to take over most of the pitching coach duties for the upcoming season, which I think everybody agreed was a necessary change, not just because last year was a disaster, but because pretty much 5 of the last 6 seasons have been disasters with the pitching coach. Cade McClure and Nick Birdie will now take over most of the pitching coach duties for next season. We'll obviously see if this makes a gigantic difference, but I think we can all agree something pretty significant had to be done.
Right. And I think it's really just interesting timing with everything that happened with Troy and Skylar Meade being able to take that program to the heights that it did, and to retain him and for him to not leave. And obviously for Louisville, there's a lot of connections and eyes on, is he a guy that could replace Dan? Is Dan going to leave? Is all this happening at the same time? Is Dan going to make a change? There's been questions for years around what happened there. And at this point, you can't look at this season and not almost single-handedly go to the pitching and say that was the issue for Louisville, start to finish. And so for me, I get Dan's loyalty, but he almost had to make a move. And this is Jim and Michael being co-managers. Roger's still a big picture. Cade and Nick are just day to day. They're handling the day to day, and those guys are younger. They understand some of the technology that U of L has just not adopted over the years with some of the old school philosophies. And I really think that this is going to go one of 2 ways. This is the end for Dan, and this is, a move that on the very end of his tenure he made to try to save face and it didn't work. Or, Mike, this is going to get them back on the right track because he's making a move that invests in the area where they've just been the weakest. It's not lack of talent. They've had pitchers come through here. I don't know what it is. Roger Williams, obviously, he's got a lot of acumen as a pitching coach, but clearly there's some form of connection and tutelage missing with him as the pitching coach at Louisville.
I think this could also be a thing, and I think we all were super curious to see how Dan, handled this situation, just because of his loyalty to Roger and the fact that he's been here for so long and turned down lots of jobs to stay here.
Right.
You knew he wasn't going to want to embarrass Roger, but if this works out well, if the pitching is great and it becomes apparent behind the scenes that Roger's not really the one calling the shots anymore, I could see this being a situation where he rides off into the sunset after next year and just says cool, I don't want to take a embarrassing demotion, but I'm no longer going to be used the way, or maybe this is it becomes a perfect working relationship where he's fine in the role that he is. He's fine, and he's getting up there in age. I'm sure he wants to walk things back a little bit, but he's also lived in the city for 2 decades. Right. I think he and his wife and their kids are comfortable here.
They've been through a lot here.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had a lot of success, and I understand, as fans, we see only so much perspective of the struggles with coaching and, what goes into that. Obviously, Dan is one of the most respected baseball minds in all of college baseball, right? And for him to keep Roger there, yes, it is a level of loyalty. It is a level of we've done this together, but it also is Dan's got to be seeing Roger do enough for this team to feel confident, at least up to some point, right? There could have been some requests to make changes and you need to do this more, but those two are clearly in lockstep to some degree to where Dan was willing to walk away versus making a move. And so at this point, it really is, they're in a really interesting position, right? Louisville's in a spot baseball wise where they're pretty good every single year. And, every third, fourth, fifth year, they have a College World Series capable team. You have a coach that's a Hall of Famer. He's going to have interest every single year from other programs, and you want to retain him. So you have to invest in your baseball program. But when you invest in your baseball program, you know better than anyone else that it costs other programs more money to go out and recruit with. And then if your coach isn't giving you the results, you have to make a change. And so for Dan, I think the pressure was on that you have to do something different.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, Dan. You're the one. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're not going to tell you like Satterfield that you have to let go of your staff. We're going to say we trust you, but you have to do something different here. And so for Dan, I think this is a smart move to trust in two guys that he and Roger tootled and created. Tootled, is that a word? I don't think so.
We knew what you were saying.
Tootled, yeah. But
it sounds gross, but
they taught and helped develop them. And so now that they know, at least they can trust that they're going to teach them the way that is the Louisville way, and hopefully with a little bit more of the edge in technology, analytics, all the things that are kind of happening in the modern day of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I think if this had just been a 1 or even 2 year type deal, you could have easily excused it. The fact of the matter is we've missed the NCAA tournament 4 of the last 6 seasons, and in 5 of the last 6 seasons, the pitching has been
horrendous.
Subpar. At the very end, to put it mildly, horrendous probably is the better word. By the way, Air Force 2 in Louisville, or was in Louisville, which is what the plane that carries JD Vance around.
Okay.
Apparently, it already had left. It landed at Muhammad Ali Airport. It just took off like 5 minutes ago. People aren't sure. We could have gotten him over here to walk-ons.
Yeah, I mean,
he could have said Wisconsin, but said it like normally. Wisconsin.
Or as you like to say, it was Wisconsin?
No, he did a speech yesterday where he was like, I love being here in Wisconsin, or as you guys call it, Wisconsin. Like, just didn't do the accent at all. And I was like, everyone was like, what? Like, you got to say Wisconsin. What are you doing?
It's the opposite of Brian Kelly.
Yeah, pretty much. he can't do the voices.
Right.
It's the training himself to get that Appalachia out of him. So, yeah, he was there. Air Force 2. Unclear if he was on board or not. Now people making lots of claims about Mitch McConnell, as you might guess.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I was wondering, does Air Force 2 just fly around every once in a while and land to be like
just fun
plane?
Of
like,
just throw people off?
Is he here? I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe he's going to the ISCO. You don't know.
Yeah.
And then he just takes off. You never know what's going on. But I do think that hopefully this will be the good move for the baseball program. I do wonder if it goes the way that it's been going, if this is finally the moment where Josh Hurd says we do have to make a change. I mean, you mentioned Skylar, who, I do always have to put out the precursor, like I've known pretty much my whole life and consider a pretty good friend. He had a great run with Troy.
Yeah.
It's no mystery that he's been a big candidate for a number of coaching jobs over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Do I think that he would like to have the Louisville job? Yes. I mean, obviously, he's not going to want to like push Dan out. He and Dan have a great relationship, and he still credits Dan with a lot of getting him where he got to. Even though Skylar was at Louisville for 5 years, and McDonald was only the coach for one of those. So it was he also has a great relationship with Lalo Prado, but when you've got that, he's kind of like the Jeff Brom of Louisville baseball, where he's in the periphery. Everyone kind of knows if you have another bad season, he's down there, taking Troy, who's been a nothing program forever, and turning them into this program that's very nationally relevant. Those groans and those cries are going to get louder and louder from the fan base.
And it's warranted. Look, I mean, I get it. When you create the standard, there is an element of grace in which you're allowed to kind of, fluctuate in your performance, as long as it's not years and years of sustained struggles, right? And Dan has had more struggles lately than success, but there's always the benefit of the doubt. But now, if you're Josh Hurd, right, and you're looking at your baseball program, you're putting that type of investment financially in it. You see what Dan and the team have done in bringing Aaron Flaker in and trying to be innovative, which I think is just a very interesting approach that they've taken. But when you have a guy like that out there, if you're Josh and you're trying to, you're trying to keep your job, you're trying to do all the things that are going to make your athletic department the best athletic department, and you see one of your own doing that, man, it's hard not to keep an eye on it. And Mike, I'd be lying to you if I didn't think that, Skylar Meade waited to see if maybe this is the year Dan retires.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was, I'm using think liberally here, there was definitely some mutual interest between himself and South Carolina for a period of time.
Right.
He believe, was made aware when this is one of those weird coaching things. I think if Troy had gotten eliminated early in the NCAA tournament, he would have had a better chance to get the South Carolina job.
Right.
As they continue to move on, and he was unwilling to do the whole I'm flying down there to meet you. He was very much committed to his team. He realized how significant and how serious this could be for the program. They didn't want to wait. They wanted to appease their fan base, and they went ahead and made the move and made their hire.
Right.
So I do think that came into play. But yeah, I mean, I think he's very aware of the fact that there's a chance at some point that the Louisville job's going to open. This is his home. His dad has moved down there with him to be closer to him. I think they would like to be back here in Louisville at some point. This is where the rest of their family is. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing that's always just kind of hanging out there in the balance, unless he goes 12-40 this year, and then people care less about Skylar.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is a bad analogy, but let's just say that Pat is the coach at Louisville for the next 10, 12 years, right? And they have a lot of sustained success. They don't ever get to the mountaintop, but they have a lot of sustained success. And Peyton Siva eventually goes somewhere else, right? And let's just say he takes Seattle University to the NCAA tournament, and they go on a run to the Sweet 16, and they have years of excellence with him as their head coach. You don't think Louisville fans would be clamoring to bring Peyton Siva in to be the head coach of Louisville?
Yeah.
So I know that Skylar Meade, it's different because he was born and raised here, and he is a Louisvillian at heart. But with Peyton, Louisville just always wants their own, and they want guys like that. And when you see your own have a success elsewhere and you're struggling, it makes you even want that more.
No question about it. Are you ready for your Weird Friday story of the day?
Let's do it.
Yesterday we had the guy cutting off his penis, setting it on fire. Today we go to West Memphis, Arkansas, not West Memphis, Tennessee, but West Memphis, Arkansas, where something crazy happened. West Memphis police received reports of suspicious screaming coming from an old storage building behind a vacant tire shop. They thought they were responding. Maybe this is someone domestic dispute, someone being beaten, something going on there. Instead, they walked into, according to this news story, what can only be described as the SEC championship of bad decisions. This is a real story.
It just means more.
I need to preface this before we get into the details. This is a real story. There are real mugshots. This really happened. According to investigators, brothers Dwayne Scooter McClendon and Ricky Dale McClendon were arrested Friday night after allegedly operating an underground possum fighting ring that had somehow become one of the hottest tickets in West Memphis. Admission was $5 or free if you brought a folding chair and promised to not call animal control. Deputies say the quote-unquote arena consisted of a circle made from empty pickle jars and busted beer cans, complete with a hand-painted banner that read Possum Palooza 2026, where champions play dead. The fight card reportedly had competitors including Sir Hiss-a-Lot, Mississippi Mike, Dumpster Debbie, and whatever Ricky caught behind Popeyes 20 minutes ago. That was an actual name that they gave to one of the competitors. The investigation began after neighbors complained about violent screeching, excessive cheering, and someone repeatedly yelling, "He's faking it." It's a real line from the story. When officers entered the building, they discovered nearly 30 spectators, 4 coolers full of beer, a folding table serving as a betting counter, and one possum who was reportedly wearing a championship belt made from duct tape, a dog collar, and what appeared to be an expired Bass Pro Shops gift card. Police say the biggest problem with the operation wasn't the gambling, it was that the possums refused to cooperate. During every match, contestants dramatically fell over and played dead. Several angry bettors reportedly demanded refunds, insisting that they'd, quote, seen more action waiting in line at the DMV. When questioned, Scooter allegedly told the officers, "We were not breaking any laws." His brother, Ricky Dale, said everyone here was here voluntarily. Authorities weren't convinced. Both brothers now face charges including animal cruelty, illegal gambling, and operating an unlicensed concession stand after officers discovered that they had been selling boiled peanuts and nachos. As for the possums, wildlife officials safely released them into the woods, where they're expected to make full recoveries just as soon as they finish pretending to be dead for the next 4 to 6 business days. And then it ends with this. So only in West Mississippi could somebody lose $50 betting on an animal whose entire fighting strategy is taking a nap. The mugshots of the brothers are readily available online. Possum Fight Club. First rule of Possum Fight Club: you don't talk about Possum Fight Club. There it is. Sir Hiss-a-Lot. Well done. He's faking it. It's incredible.
So good.
But it is weird. I know I feel less bad about this than I do you're just spilling beer all over the kickboard.
Well, good thing the kickboard is supposed to be wet.
The kickboard drink holders, ridiculous. I feel worse about dogfighting and cockfighting just because those animals seem more sentient.
Right.
They although everyone says possums are actually nice.
Can you imagine if they broke the news on the Mike Vick story and it's a possum fighting ring? I mean,
he probably wouldn't have gone to jail, honestly. Probably would not have gone to jail if I had to guess. All right, let's go back to the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450, and see what you guys have to say today. Texter, this is Boney Dumper. Texas, great. Lincoln is going to suck this year. You heard it here first, Mike Rutherford Radio. Don't do that to me.
That's the hard part of
Don't take real reports and turn them into fake reports. Let's not do this. I don't like that. Lazard guy said, I felt significantly better about Lance at center after listening to his interview with producer Keith. Lance said he got recruited out of high school as a center and said he got a lot of reps in bowl practice at center. The fact that he's been the plan at center since last season gives me comfort.
Yes, and Lance is a freaking awesome dude. I know that doesn't make you a better center, but the dude's got an incredible mind for leadership, and I think that matters when you are literally the only starter left in the room.
I'm trying to think, we both kind of agreed about we've done this before a few times where we've moved guys who have been the one that came to my mind was Jake Smith, who was really good.
Mine was Cole Bentley, which was not great.
That
was the opposite.
Jake Smith also wasn't good when we were doing stuff. Both those guys, we moved back to their old positions in the middle of the season because it wasn't going well. So I think we're a little bit jaded. It does make me feel better, like the texter said, knowing that this was kind of in the works and it wasn't just hey, we went through spring practice and we realized we need to make this move and you've got 4 months to learn this position. He's played it before. Granted, it was at the high school level. He prepared for this during their preparation for the bowl, and it's become the stereotypical joke you need the practices for the bowl game. In this case, you probably did actually get something out of the practices during the bowl game. But it's still, I think we can't act like it's not a little bit nerve-wracking until we go out there and actually see him perform for the first time at the center position.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like maybe over the last 10 years, anytime we expect the Louisville's offensive line to be dominant, they come out in the first week and they're like, what the heck was that? And anytime we have questions, they come out and they're dominant. So maybe reverse psychology says this group comes out and they just are dominant.
Hope so.
That's what I would just love to see, is a group that just – offensive linemen, they love to block for the start running backs. They'll tell you, they just want to maul people. And I'm hoping that getting bigger, their goal is going to be to just lean on guys and not be as athletic as they've been in years past. And I hope that's maybe that's easier to coach than having to slide and do all the, the things that come with that. I don't know.
I mean, it's also kind of circling back to a prior conversation we had. If they are a little bit slow, it's one of those situations where you can kind of hide that a little bit with an offense that is relying on misdirection. If we do a bunch of read option stuff, you don't have to have the best blocking if everybody's overwhelming the right side and then Lincoln Keenholz pulls and gets misdirection, or if he pulls and throws downfield and we have somebody open there. Also, I think what we've seen the last couple of years, and the offensive line play, I think has been pretty good. It's more good than bad the last 2 years.
There's been some issues, but they've made a lot of substitutions and tweaks, throughout the years.
But Isaac Brown doesn't need a lot of space. We've seen that firsthand. We've had a lot of really productive running backs the last couple of years, and two of those guys are back on the team this season. Keywan Brown, the last 5 games of last year was phenomenal. Averaged 7.5 yards per carry for the season, which I think was 3rd in the country. Isaac was 8.8.
I mean, if he came back and was Louisville's lead back, I think Louisville fans would have felt just as good as it. I mean, Isaac is great. Don't get me wrong. This is a guy that's going to get his number in the rafters if he has the year this year that we expect him to potentially. I mean, I think I've been saying it since his freshman year. I think if he wouldn't have missed the games last year that he did, especially, then he stays this year and comes back, I think he'll probably go pro next year.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because he isn't going to be a 1st or 2nd rounder. Maybe he does stay for 4 years. But I think Isaac has the chance, statistically and just from the eye, to be one of the top 5 players that's ever played here.
Yeah, I mean, I said it a number of times. I always get pushback. I think he's the most naturally talented running back we've ever had. I feel very confident in saying that. I think when it comes to just vision, skill, his ability to change direction without breaking stride, I've never seen anybody that can do the types of things that he can do. Having said that, I think one of the big reasons why it was so important to bring in Kewan Brown and then also to get Marquise Davis is I think that you will have some general concern about, I mean, you know, we had it last year where, like, how significant is the actual injury that he wants to, he's thinking about his future. He's thinking about, you know, the paycheck that's coming down the line. Running backs are kind of a dime a dozen in the NFL. That first contract for a lot of these guys is kind of the only big one that you get. Yeah. If, you know, we do get into a situation where in the middle of the season, we're playing some teams that we think we should beat, or he's dealing with a minor injury that he probably could play through, but we need him to be fully ready for November. You got Kewan Brown, you got Marquise Davis. I think they like Lakai Tompkins a lot, too.
Is it Lakai or is it Leaky?
I think it's Lakai.
I swear I've heard Jeff say Leaky.
Is it Leaky?
I don't know. I
was told, but it was not by Jeff. I was told by somebody, but when we were recruiting him, they referred to him as Lakai.
That's how it's spelled, Lakai. But I just...
Is it Leaky?
I've heard Jeff say Leaky, so I don't know.
If Jeff's saying it, then I always go with what Jeff says.
Okay.
This is what, like, last year when they were trying to call him Keon Brown for a brief period, I was like, they're telling me it's Keon. Right. And then the next game, Jeff in the press conference is like, Kewan. I'm like, I'm calling him whatever Jeff's calling him.
It's like it's Mikhail Cunningham and Kristen Cunningham all over again, you know?
Which I finally had to, like, reach out to Kristen and be like, hey, how do you pronounce your name? And he was like, it's Kristen, like K-R-I, like the girl.
Still to this day can't not say Christian. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, I'd asked Jody. Like, Jody was when we were at iHeart, like, brought him on. I was like, is it, because Jody's like, I've known him since he was in high school. I was like, is it Kristen? And he was like, it's Christian. And then, like, somebody else said Kristen. So I messaged Kristen directly and was like, how do you say your name? And he was like, Kristen, like the girl. Yeah. And I was like, there you go, right to the source. That's what you have to do.
I remember
these days.
We like changed his name pronunciation in January, the year he was here.
We do this with like half the players we have these days.
What? It's that we've been calling him the wrong name all year.
It's, I mean, part of the portal era. That's what you have to deal with.
Get him on the TBT team.
Love Kristen Cunningham.
I do
He's
too.
too busy coaching now.
I know.
He's doing
he with Mac at Charleston?
He went down to South Florida.
I mean,
yeah, he's
How
down
about
there.
South Florida being just essentially Central Kentucky now with all the guys they brought in from Kentucky?
That's what he's going for. That's what he's going for. All right, we got to take our last break here. We'll come back. We'll kick off the 5 o'clock hour with one topic that I want to get Jacob's thoughts on. Then we'll go to the Gameday Men's Health text line. Then we'll make some predictions for the weekend ahead. It's the Mike Rutherford Show. We're wrapping it up next here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio.
Guns, gears, and great deals. Say it with me. Everything concealed carry. With over 1,000 firearms in stock, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Shop SIG, Smith & Wesson, HK, Glock, and more. Plus the best selection of used guns in Louisville. Looking for premium? Check out Kimber, Dan Wesson at Wilson Combat. We pay cash for guns, and we always have specials. Visit Everything Concealed Carry, 10306 Taylorsville Road in the heart of J-Town. Everything Concealed Carry, your best shot at a great deal.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a diehard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know this man can fight and win. In an accident or hurt on the job, call Collier Law Firm. That's C-O-L-Y-E-R Law Firm. Call today.
Hey football fans, Louisville football is set to take on returning college football playoff semifinalist Ole Miss in Nashville over Labor Day weekend. The game will be played at Nissan Stadium on Sunday, September 6th. Get tickets now at gocards.com/Music City. Want to catch the Cards at home this season? Visit gocards.com/FBinfo to learn more about available ticket options.
The plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC technicians of Local 502's commitment to excellence can be seen in our community every day. The KFC Yum Center, Ford Motor Company, and the Omni Hotel are just a few examples of their professional craftsmanship. Local 502 has been part of our community for over a century and invests over $1 million annually training skilled local workers. Members of Local 502 are your friends, neighbors, and children's coaches. For more information, go to lu502.com. Local 502, built on excellence, building a better tomorrow.
I spend my days teaching fifth graders that big things are built one step at a time.
And at home, we're living that lesson. I'm Kevin Miles.
I'm Rachel, wife, teacher, and we're getting ready to welcome our baby boy.
We can't wait. We're practicing being big siblings.
Crosspace Medic is our family business, built on one simple belief. Your home should feel safe, comfortable, and healthy for the people you love most.
Crosspace Medic, a healthy home starts from the ground up. You can find us at crosspacemedic.com.
T.A. Jenkins and T.A. Jenkins Company, LLC, proud sponsor of high school basketball on the Big X. Call Terry Jenkins at 812-989-7381 for your residential and commercial construction needs. Design, build, or remodel, it's T.A. Jenkins Company, LLC, located in New Albany. Email Terry at tajenkinsco.com. That's Ginkins, T.A. Jenkins Company.
There is not a better feeling to have a smile on your face after getting your car serviced. That's how it works at Consolidated Tire and Auto Care. Serving Kentuckiana for over 3 decades, fixing brakes, putting tires on, and servicing your car. And now, from a new and improved location at 3305 Preston Highway. Want to get your car running right and keep it that way? Get to Consolidated Tire and Auto Care, 3305 Preston Highway. Got a question? You can call them at 456-2220. Consolidated Tire and Auto Care, total car care, and the best brake job in town.
More storms arrive after midnight tonight, mainly into early Saturday morning. Flash flood is our #1 concern, followed by some gusty winds. Temperatures will be in the lower 70s overnight tonight. Bit of a break in that storm activity midday Saturday, and then additional storms by Saturday evening. Again, the alert day continues. Flash flooding concerns are a real problem. 2 to 4 inches of rain in some spots. I'm Wave Storm Tracking Team meteorologist Ryan Hoke.
This is Dugan Ryan. I would love the opportunity to talk with you about how we can help grow your business and have your business's brand associated with Big X Sports Radio. Give me a call today at 812-725-1457.
This is Kentuckiana's only locally owned sports talk, The Big X, AM 1450 and 96.1 FM, WXVW Jeffersonville.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Welcome back in. It's the final segment of the week here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450, 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Live here at Walk-Ons in Clarksville, Walk-On Sports Bistro. We've just got a final in the World Cup. Spain has advanced with a 2-1 win over Belgium. Goal in the 88th minute by Mikel Moreno. Mikel's just making big plays late in games for other people.
Playing?
Well,
wow, I thought he'd have a back injury.
He took the World Cup to bring it out of him. If we just made it to the quarterfinals, maybe we could have gotten him to suit up.
Well, his dad would have had some thoughts.
Well, he would have played in the Elite Eight, I feel like. Maybe. I think we could have gotten him to play.
I'm not sure he would have played in the national championship, if you want me to be honest with you, Mike.
I think you're probably right. But Spain does move on to the semifinals as they take care of the Belgians 2-1. Excuse me, tomorrow. Norway, England, and Argentina, Switzerland for the last 2 spots in the World Cup Final Four. We'll make some predictions for that coming up here at the end of the half hour. You've got about 20 minutes or so to have your thoughts heard on the radio. Text us at 502-414-1450. Jacob Lane is in the house from state of Louisville, celebrating his wife's almost birthday, or just
past birthday.
Recently past birthday.
Big 33.
What do you guys have going on at State of Louisville outside of the 37 different podcasts? What would you like to plug here?
Like a record low.
Is it really
It's
just 3
right now? Yeah, man. Obviously I've been vocal about this a little bit more since it happened, but we were acquired in March of last year. And really the business model we flipped it. And the thing that's different about us is we run our stuff like a business. We're not just, like there's a lot of blogs and podcasts that pop up, but we try to actually run it like a radio station would or like a TV station would and make it something that's very much investable and monetizable. And so when things kind of fell apart with that deal last August, it really forced us to kind of cut back and really lean into what was working for us, which is our basketball and football products. But we stay really diving into basketball, football. I love the stuff that we're doing on the culture side of really exploring the history of Louisville, telling the story of the food scene and things here in town with It's 502 Somewhere. And we got some stuff planned. We've got a partnership that we're going to announce here soon with another media outlet and some new stuff coming from there. So Things are really looking up. But Presley's getting ready to go off on paternity leave, having his first kiddo.
I don't think I knew that. Congrats to
his wife is 6 or 7 months pregnant at this point, and so it's going to be me kind of rolling the ship solo. But we're heading into sports season, and things are going to start to pick back up. 2 weeks two episodes a week of football, basketball, all of that. So we're rocking and rolling, man.
Producer Keith just going way too much into offensive lines. That's not going to stop anytime soon.
Here's what I'll tell you about Producer Keith. My man, I love him to death. He is the biggest Louisville football fan there is. But this one instance will forever stand out in my mind of us doing a sponsorship deal with a local gym and us going into the gym and meeting the owner. And within 2 minutes, Keith is talking about offensive line to this woman. And I'm like, Keith, she does not care about your formations. What are we doing? But no, man, that's how they roll. All about football.
You mentioned you guys do a lot of stuff on the culture side of things, talking about the city of Louisville. Yeah. I know the Courier had a good story today, great summer story about they polled citizens of Louisville for the worst intersections in the city of Louisville.
Oh, man.
This is what they came up with. Number 1, that Hikes Lane, Browns Lane, Hunsinger Lane, Taylorsville Road, Richland Avenue, right outside the 264 loop.
Awful.
Number 1.
Yep.
So they've got there. The quotes are very good here. One reader referred to it as, quote, the bane of their existence, which is wonderful. Reader Denise said, an English person once said that this intersection would be perfect for a roundabout. There you go. Number 2, Barstown Road, Rockledge Avenue, Dorothy Avenue, the intersection that is referred to as horrible and confusing. There you go. Number 3, Poplar Level and Watterson exits.
That's bad. I don't know, man. That one's not as bad as the other two.
I agree with this. They say no matter whether you're on Poplar Level, getting onto the Watterson, or getting off the Watterson and onto Poplar Level, all that divides you from oncoming traffic is maybe a half-foot-tall, barely painted pylon that indicates go around me or else, which is true. Like, that's, yeah, I mean.
But how much of that traffic at Poplar is just always the zoo?
It's the zoo. It's the mega cavern.
Zoo, man.
Yeah, you get that right there. 4 East Oak Street, Schiller Avenue, and East St. Catherine Street. This one stumps multiple members of the newsroom. There's 3 possibilities to go right. If you're using GPS, it isn't always clear until the last second what right you're actually taking. If you're choosing between East St. Catherine and East Oak Street, there are a couple spots like that downtown.
Yeah.
And then number 5, East St. Catherine exit off I-65.
That one's bad. I hate that little freaking side area.
Yeah.
Like, I don't never know if I'm supposed to turn into that or go around it.
They say honorable mention Westport Road, Ridgeway Avenue, Linden Way, which is kind of a whack. That's more of just like a morning.
I've got another one.
Session.
Lynn Station at Hurstbourne is.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You talk about bane of existence. I grew up in Plainview. That is the worst intersection that light is green for 3 seconds.
It is. It's 100% true. It's very, very bad. All right, let's get to the Gameday Mens Health text line. As mentioned, you guys have a few minutes left to have your thoughts heard on the radio this week. Texter says, I'm sure after some of the terrible food from County that Trevor has had, Taco Bell tastes like something from Jeff Ruby's. It's been a long time.
Is that true, Trevor?
That is actually not true. The food in
Trevor
my
says that's
furlough
actually not
was actually
true.
excellent.
You have said multiple times that the food on your furlough was actually excellent. So that's, yeah, you're walking that back.
Yeah, I still can't. I still want to know what they put on those chicken tenders.
Okay.
I love that we just refer to that as his furlough.
That's what it was.
It's so good.
Texture says, there's no doubt in my mind that Indiana cheated some way, somehow, like a Spygate or that guy from Michigan wearing disguises on other team sidelines. There's no way in hell they did this 100% legit. Are we thinking there were some shenanigans afoot, or is Kurt Signetti and everybody else associated with Indiana football just that damn good?
I don't know. I freaking love Kurt Signetti.
I do too. It's hard not to.
Anytime Google me has the chance to go either really good or really bad, and he nailed it, man. He just nailed it.
I mean, I don't think they were cheating. I guess if it came out in 5 years that they had some sort of crazy elaborate scheme like Michigan, you'd be like, all right, like that makes a little bit more sense. But I feel like that would carry more weight if they hadn't gone to the playoff the year before. If they just been this whatever program, like it was a build towards it.
But also, James Madison was pretty damn good for like 3 years. I mean,
that too.
How could you not watch Alonzo Barrett and the team that they had for there for a couple of years and not think he was a good coach?
He might just be that good, Texter says, what interior D linemen have the biggest potential to step up outside of Russell and Kennedy? Do you think it's Micah Carter and Keon Webb?
In terms of interior defensive line, that's a good question. I don't think Micah Carter will be playing much on the interior line, so I would tend to lean towards Jared Smith, and the dark horse is going to be Joshua Donald. That's a guy that Mark Ivey continues to speak highly of. The kid that came from Houston, App State, played everywhere. I don't even know if he played last year, but they said he's lost about 25 pounds, and he has been dominant.
I feel, this maybe is going to be a hot take, and I'm kind of ignoring the question because he mentioned this player already. I think D'Amico Kennedy's going to be really good.
I hope so.
I've got this, I think this is going to become the next big trend in college football until things change with the portal, where you've got big former recruits that just didn't play for their first 2 years a lot, because that's typically the way that things have always existed, and then they got a little bit pissed off because every 18 and 19-year-old thinks they're going to be a true star, and they go somewhere else, and they do live up to that hype that they would have lived up to probably if they'd stay at their old location. And that's, I think, the way that programs like Louisville can still keep up with the Joneses, because you get those guys on relatively cheap.
I have been saying this for a long time, all the way back to the year when Louisville brought in Gerald Christian, Robert Clark, the Charlie Strong years where they brought in the former 4- and 5-star kids from Florida. I've always said that I think Louisville should make their recruiting hay on being the place that 5 stars and 4 stars who don't work out at Ohio State, Florida, Alabama should go to. Those kids have the talent. It's just a matter of opportunity and getting them in the right headspace. And you mentioned D'Amico Kennedy, but I almost go to Dalen Russell as fitting that bill for Miami, And what I really like about Dalen Russell and D'Amico Kennedy that Mark Ivey told Keith and Vince on From the Pink Seats was that they recruited both of them previously. So they have a relationship with them, and they went elsewhere and now are coming to Louisville. They understand what's expected here, and I think in terms of a trend, that's why they always say don't burn bridges, because if you leave after your first year or two, it's easy to go back to a place where you had a good relationship with a coach where maybe they were in your top 2 or 3 but didn't end up being the one where you committed.
Well, I know that's kind of been a mentality of the staff too, is when they talk about, you talk about the 25 recruiting cycle, the 26 recruiting cycle, they're kind of like, every cycle now is a recycled. Like you're recruiting the 24 cycle again because half of those kids are ending up in the portal. Yeah. What do you make of, while we have you here, because there's been a lot of talk on the show, people texting in kind of getting concerned about this once highly touted 2027 recruiting class losing so many of its top members.
Great question. Love this topic.
I think that there are a lot of people who are like, if we are ever going to be a consistent contender to make the playoff, you've got to have traditional recruiting going. We were 14th in some recruiting rankings like 5 months ago. We're now down to 39th in that sort of range. Like, how concerning is this, or is this concerning to you?
It's not concerning to me for a couple of reasons, and I think past experience would lead me to believe that this is part of the strategy of how Jeff Brom operates. I remember hearing in 23 when Jeff got here how much he hated that class, that 23 class, because they were lazy. They didn't live up to what they wanted. The Flyville class, they were making an insane amount of money. And when Jeff came in here during that first portal season, if you remember, that was the Willie Tyler year. They went out and they had to go get a bunch of guys at the spring because their freshmen just weren't, they weren't ready. Like, they were not ready.
Real quick, I've got to say, I don't think I've ever said this on air. I always kind of hinted at it during those years. But one of the first things that I heard when Jeff got the job and they started practicing that summer, and because I like everybody else, I was so excited about that class. Like, after the first week, I talked to somebody who would know, and they just go, Pierce Clarkson sucks. And then they go, Madden Sanker really sucks. And I was like, not what I wanted to. No. I was terrified. And then as time goes on, you're like, oh, okay, they kind of had reasons to say
you're talking about the guy that had an NIL deal with Madden Sanker, when we did that one step with him and Luke.
He's a great kid.
I had heard early on that Jeff would have cut him if he could have when he first got here.
They were shocked.
It was that bad.
Yeah, they were shocked.
And a lot of those kids. So my point being is that I learned very quickly and just kind of talking to the folks around the program that they don't value paying high school players because they come in, they're entitled. There's an element of learning how to work and how to get. Jeff carries himself like an NFL coach.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there is no excuses. There is no, like, we're going to be your babysitter. The man just demands that you piss excellence from the moment you wake up until you go to bed. And I don't mean that in terms of you got to be the greatest player, but you got to give 100% effort in everything you do. And so what I've learned about Jeff is that they will not, these high school players that come to them and say, hey, I committed at this rate, I want this right now, they're going to tell them to walk. That's going to happen every single year. They're going to tell them to walk, because if you look at how Louisville football recruits, Mike, they value the transfer portal. They go in, they get 30, 40 transfers every offseason. And retention of the guys that they develop. And that's the hardest part is you understand that when you look at this class right now that has 15, 16 guys in it, how many of those guys are going to play for Louisville? Maybe 6, maybe 5. And I'm not saying that based off of like looking at, I'm just saying historically in numbers. I think Jeff is betting on the transfer portals, the transfer portal players being the guys that are going to move the needle for Louisville football, not the high school players. But here's my thing. Jahide Brown and Allen Evans, I think you got to pay a little bit more. You got to make it happen, man. You got to make it happen.
And I think that they've maybe made that happen with one of them.
Yes, I agree. And I think the other one, wait till signing day. Let's see what happens.
There's the Allen Evans stuff is there's other stuff out there that I think that there's buzz out there. I think people, if you look hard enough, you can kind of find that there's some stuff going on. But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't wind up signing with us, there's also a very real chance that he could sign with us in a year or 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah, and Clark Lee has loved to take Louisville players the last couple of years. Took Evan Hampton last year, now Allen Evans. You know that. I mean,
they love taking Trinity players too. They took Ryan White back in the day. Remember Ryan White played with James Quick and those guys?
You guys are smart, or what is it?
I don't know. I don't know what the allure is. I never wanted
Vince Lococo.
Jeremy,
because he's got CTE.
Back in the day, Jeremy Sowers also went down there. So it's not just Trinity boys. There's some sort of unreasonable draw down to Nashville from a segment of the Louisville population.
Well, if I was 18 and single, I'd probably try to go to Nashville.
There's
too,
nothing
Mike.
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Nashville. I mean, I think you're spot on. I think that's where their mentality is. I think that and I think it's a reasonable one if you're at a place like Louisville, which we have to recognize our place in the pecking order here.
Yeah.
And I think there's a genuine concern if you're Jeff and you go out there and you pay, let's say, whatever you consider top dollar for an 18-year-old freshman, and they go out there and they crush it in year one, you automatically have to pay them more. Or there's nothing you can pay them to keep them from going to Ohio State or Alabama or Auburn or wherever. And then if you don't play them, like you said, you've got entitled kids that were like, hey, you prioritized me. You wanted me to come here. Why the hell am I going to stay? I could go be a star at Minnesota next year. They want me. Boom, I'm gone. So I think they kind of realize that, and they want kids that are going to come here and go through the process. And when they have the money to spend big, they're spending it on bringing their best players back from the past year and bringing in guys that have already proven themselves at the college level to come in and be plug-and-play guys. That's going to be the mentality moving forward.
But, I mean, if you look at their class the last 2 years, 2025, they lost the top 2 guys in that class, and C.J. May and Mason Mims to the portal. In 24, JoJo Stone was their top-rated guy and went into the portal. We obviously know that 23, every one of those guys that came in ultimately left, essentially, besides TJ Capers and Stanquan Clark. So, I mean...
By the way, JoJo Stone's at FIU, and he had 23 catches last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing is these rankings don't tell the story a lot of the times of the talent that's truly behind it. But, that is what it is. And so... I mean, Jeff Brom is going to always value production, and I think that in my mind, I'm not a football coach, but I tend to lean towards I would prefer to pay for something I've seen.
Yeah, same. Texter 502-414-1450 says, John Rutherford is the future Trevor at Bible school. I don't like that one bit. I also don't like that that's your first text since mid-February, that this is what brought you back onto the text line. Don't love that at all. Texture Little Dumper says, did Nick Coffey send in the penis would you rather? No, he did say, Coffey tweeted at me, he's like, because it's Friday, would you say penis on the radio? I'm like, brother, I'm saying penis 5 times a day, every day on this show.
When was the last time you said waffle stomp, though? That's the real
That was a horrifying moment when I looked up what that actually meant. And then I was like,
one of my favorite Mike Rutherford moments ever in history is you finding out live on the radio what waffle stomp is.
He's like, I hope we waffle stomp. I'm like, is that a real term? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, God. It's just, don't do it. It's Friday. Dugan, don't put your phone away. Don't do it.
Do it.
You're going to be grossed out.
I'm going to do it for you right here.
You're going to be grossed out. Texas says, are all of these guys talking about reclassifying because they aren't in their original classes right now anyways? Look, Duke gets horrified because he just saw what it actually means. Some of them are. It's hard to keep track of because I think that there are like both guys that we had reclass. I think reclass was used incorrectly because they were going back to their original class.
Yeah, the Isaac Ellis thing was weird.
He would have been 20.
Yeah, but he talked about he wanted to extend his window for NIL. That's why he went backwards.
Yes. Yeah, and then Obina Kesey was, because it's funny, he played at St. Raphael. You're in Louisville. It's a tight-knit community.
Do you know why they were in Louisville? What brought them here?
I have asked like 5 different people, and I cannot get a firm answer on it.
I mean, how many former NBA players do you think live in Louisville? Probably less than 10? I mean, for Obina Kesey to live here is kind of a random thing.
For 1 year, too.
For 1 year, right.
It was very strange, but he was, like, a lot of my wife's friends, like, they had kids that were in his class, and those kids are all, like, going to be freshmen in college this year, too. So that was his original class. Okay. He reclassed back into where he was supposed to be all along, same as the Ellis.
Which is why he's eligible for the 28 draft, right? Or 27 draft.
Yeah, he if he has a banner freshman season, he can be in next year's NBA draft. Yeah. I guess the same for Isaac Ellis if he if he winds up going out there and being way better than I think he's going to be.
Can you imagine? Okay, real quick.
I'm sorry.
I know that we don't have a lot of time, but my favorite thing about Isaac Ellis was Pat Kelsey's quote about how he loves to he's the kind of guy that he wants to break down pick and rolls at the dinner table with. Like, that's just the greatest quote of a player I've ever heard.
I do feel like we brought him on just because Pat Kelsey's like, I just love the mentality. That's a little me.
That is a little me.
Yeah.
That is all that is.
Ohio guy says Brahms' contract extension means there are no excuses for clunker games anymore.
Well, that's not quite how that works, but I mean, I think we can get a little bit angrier if they lose to Stanford, Cal, Villanova, whatever.
See, we say stuff like this. Like, I don't know if there were it's not like everybody just took the 3 losses last year in stride.
Correct.
People were furious.
People were talking about wanting a new coach.
Yeah, there was never a moment. I mean,
we don't do well with that.
Well, we're all victims of the moment.
Correct.
We go from September through December. We are the best team in the world or the worst team in the world, depending on how we played the Saturday before.
Right, and
we're not alone in that.
Your take on Monday of one week compared to the next Monday, or you look back on it and you're like, what were we doing? Like,
exactly.
I mean, like, what?
I think
why were we so high and low?
We always, and I think we do this all the time. There were a lot of people who, at the end of that first season, were like, we lost 3 games. Like, I thought Braum was supposed to be good, and now we're like, dude, we won 10 games. We played for a conference championship. That's a good year. It may not have been a special year because of the way that it ended, but you win 10 games at Louisville, you've had a good season.
Yeah. Arguing about Louisville football the last 3 years makes me stupider every time.
Well, that's not going to change anytime soon. If you're looking for that to change, then this is what we do in sports radio.
Right.
We're not here because we're brilliant. Trevor's stepdad says the Possum Fight Club brothers should have their charges dropped. They were just boosting the local economy.
Trevor and his stepdad are trying to figure out how they can get involved in that.
Trevor's now texting me. Former NBA player Victor Alexander lived here because Felton sold Louisville to him when they played together. Victor, I knew there had to be a personal connection because there's no way he would have just known this off the top of his head. Victor used to come into the video store that I worked at. One of Trevor's 72 jobs. There it is. Texter says, what do you all think about the girl? Okay, you know that I can't read this. You just were hoping that I was going to read enough of that before I got...
You started. You got to finish.
Literally, no, I can't read any of those words. He's trying to get me fired at 5:23 on a Friday. Dude, my boss is right behind me looking at you talking about just 2 forms of... I can't even say anything. Lazard guy says, people pissed about high school recruiting are the same people who... I don't know. I can't read that phrase either. Who got very excited over that Flyville class that was full of turds. Rankings are a sham. I think we've learned to not get over. We should have. But also, there's another side to this, too, where we can't just do the thing where it's like, Russ Smith was a 2-star. Eric Williams. More times than not, the best recruiting classes do produce the best football programs. But there are times, like the Teddy Bridgewater class of 2013, which was ranked like 28th. I guess that was 2012 class. Should have been the number 2 or 3 class in America when you look back at it. It's not, the rankings aren't the end-all, be-all. Texas, spilling a drink on something designed to keep drinks from spilling. Perfect time to let everyone know they work just as well out of water as they do in water. I believe that's Troy, who just sent us a picture of his Michelob Light in his cardboard cubby right here, the cardboard kickboard. Boom.
Just sitting on his couch on a Tuesday night.
Just loving it. Just loving it.
Shout out to Troy.
We love Troy. All right, we got to make some picks for the weekend ahead. These are brought to you by guy Chad Hennessy from InsureMax, who's been proudly serving the Louisville area for over 25 years. Call Chad over there at InsureMax today. He's got you covered. Tomorrow, we got 2 World Cup matchups. Jacob Lane, Norway, England. We're rowing the boat against It's Coming Home. England is favored in Miami. 5 o'clock on Fox. Who's moving on to the semis?
Oh, man. I want to pick Norway so bad, but I think it's England, man. I think I got to hold to my traditional soccer roots.
It's coming home. I want Norway to win badly. I'm going to say England wins this in PKs.
Okay.
They get over the PK ghosts. They make some stuff happen. And then Messi and Argentina, the reigning champs, FIFA's darlings, taking on Switzerland at 9 o'clock in Kansas City. Who's moving on?
Man, they were so close to being done with Egypt, and that 3-0 run in the second or in the third or whatever in the later parts of the match were incredible. Argentina I feel like they got destiny written on them right now, man. I'm going Argentina on this one. I think they're going to win big too. I'm going to go 4-0.
I also feel like they've been playing with fire though. Like at a certain point, but I think it catches them in the semis. I think you're right.
The second half of that, or the back end of that, I keep saying second half like it's football. The back half of that match leads me to believe that Argentina is going to come out on fire in this one.
I want Switzerland to win for also the Cool Runnings references that I can make.
Yeah,
The Swiss never look happy.
I love the Swiss, man.
All right, we got to get out of here. Big thanks to Walk-Ons Sports Bistro for having us out here in Clarksville. You still got 30 minutes left if you want to get some good deals on alcohol and
great Blue Moon on
apps. Blue Moon, yeah. Jacob's been just hammering like 16 beers over here during the show. He's had a great time. Big thanks to Jacob Lane as well for spending some time with us here. Hopefully we can get you back maybe next Friday.
I'll be back here next Friday.
Next Friday.
Well, not here, but I'll be with you next Friday.
Let's do it. All right, everyone have a fantastic weekend. Get out there and enjoy the weather. Until Monday at 2:30, go Cards.
Go Cards.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Guns, gears, deal. It's everything.